So Hope and Glory returns from 2 today. Coverage of Lincoln City's pre-season friendly at Boston United. It all starts here. And Rob Makepeace, he's had his feet up, I'm not joking, for 3 months. He has literally not moved. This is the first time I've seen him do anything. You've made it to Boston, Rob. It's one of those days, really. You don't quite know what to expect, do you?
No, definitely. My feet have got working. I know now how you feel on a day-to-day basis, so that's good. But yeah, it's one of those days where it's pre-season. You don't expect too much. Of course, you want to get into a winning manner and a winning mindset for both teams. But in terms of what actually happens, scoreline doesn't really matter. It's just more about getting minutes into the players' legs, especially at this stage of pre-season, with still 3 weeks to go until the big kickoff.
It seems you've not lost your wit, at least in the last few months. That's good to hear. So just remind us then what's happening on BBC Radio Lincolnshire from 2 today then, because it's not commentary today.
No, because pre-season games are usually dreadful, John, let's be honest. There's not usually a lot that happens. It's very difficult to commentate on, especially when you have so many substitutions going on and there's a slower pace to the game. So we're going to be obviously covering the game as we go along, and we'll bring you any goals, highlights, anything as we see it in front of us. But we're going to be chatting with Craig Singleton, our usual co-commentator and club secretary at Boston United, about all things Boston, about the latest goings on behind the scenes, about some of their new players, some of their new signings and their expectations for the season. In the build-up and post-match, we'll also be talking about Lincoln City. We'll hear from new signing Tyler Walker. We'll also hear from midfielder Ethan Arahan as well, and then post-match reaction from both sets of managers and players as well, between 5 and 6. First of 3 pre-season games we're covering the next 3 Saturdays. So this time next week I'll be in Crewe for the game. Hopefully the weather will be a bit better. And then the following Saturday is the last pre-season game at home to Rotherham. So 3 games in a row now we're going to be covering of the pre-season matches for Lincoln.
Yeah, good to have Hope and Glory back on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Thank you very much, Rob, here from 2. As I say, the next few weeks, those pre-season friendlies. And then, well, it all begins. We kick back off again.
Rob Makepeace with you here on Hope and Glory, back for a Saturday afternoon. The football season hasn't got underway officially as of yet. That's still another 3 weeks away till the big kickoff on August the 5th. But over the next few weeks, we're going to be bringing you coverage of Lincoln City's pre-season friendlies. And it so happens today that it brings coverage of 2 teams that we cover week in, week out, Lincoln City and Boston United. So we'll have coverage of the game from 3 o'clock. We're not going to be doing kick-by-kick commentary. As you can imagine, pre-season games aren't always the most exciting. And also the wonderful trialists appear a little later on, I'm sure, for Boston United in particular, who've got 3 on the bench today. We'll run through your team news. We'll get some Lincoln City preview stuff as well between now and 3 o'clock. And then from 3, we'll be going through the action and also talking about what's been going on at Boston United behind the scenes and what's to come this season as well, with Club Secretary Craig Singleton. So team news on the way after Dermot Kennedy. And don't forget me, Dermot Kennedy on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. It's Rob with you for Hope and Glory through until 6. The 2 sets of goalkeepers for Lincoln City and Boston United just currently out on the pitch going through their warm-ups. We'll see the rest of the players arrive in the next 10 minutes or so. Quite a few Lincoln City fans already have made their way in, and we've got beautiful sunshine here now. About an hour ago we had a real torrential rain and wind. It was whistling around the ground, and those in the terrace to our left-hand side would have been absolutely drenched. Those stairs are just drying out now, but hopefully that rain doesn't reappear, otherwise they are going to be getting very wet this afternoon, those first Boston United fans making their way into the stadium as well. I do have your team news. I start with Boston United then, and it's Cameron Gregory in goal. We've got Ethan Sefton, Brad Nicholson, Michael Boswick, the former Lincoln City captain, now captain in the Pilgrims, Tom Leake, Keaton Ward, Martin Woods, Kelsey Mooney, Michael Jassy, Jordan Richards and Zach Mills. That's Boston United's starting 11. Only one player missing from their matchday squad, and that's striker Jimmy Knowles, who just has a slight knock, which is why he's not involved today. For Lincoln City, Lucas Jensen in goal, Jaden Brown, Ethan Arahan, Rico Hackett, Alistair Smith, Danny Mandroyo, Captain Paulie O'Connor, Ben House, Lass Sorensen, TJ Omer and Sean Rowan. 2 players that aren't involved with Lincoln City today are Jordan Wright, the goalkeeper. He's not in the match day squad, and also Tyler Walker, the Lincoln City new signing who's a little bit further behind in terms of his pre-season, so that's why he won't be involved today, and it's not expected for him to be involved for another week or so, so we won't see too much of Tyler Walker, I'm sure, over the pre-season period, but that's because he has missed those opening couple of weeks while he's got himself sorted with a new club. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We'll hear from Tyler Walker shortly, in fact, here on Hope and Glory. We'll hear about him signing for Lincoln City, the reasons behind it as well. We'll also hear from Ethan Arahan, the Lincoln City midfielder, about what he's expecting from this season as well. That's all on the way after Deep Blue Something. It is 18 minutes past 2 and Boston United players have made their way out for their pre-match warm-up. Just to run through that Boston United starting 11 once again: Cameron Gregory in goal, Ethan Sefton, Brad Nicholson, Michael Boswick, Tom Leake, Keaton Ward, Martin Woods, Kelsey Mooney, Michael Jassy, Jordan Richards and Zach Mills. We'll run through the benches as the game goes on. As you can imagine, there is quite a few players. In fact, there's 11 on each bench. I'm not sure they're all going to fit, but we'll wait and see when the game goes. Just a reminder, the players missing: Jimmy Knowles for Boston United. For Lincoln City, no Jordan Wright, and also no striker Tyler Walker. He's a bit delayed in terms of his pre-season, having joined a little later than the rest of the players into Lincoln City's group after signing this week after being released by Coventry City. And when I spoke to him earlier on this week, he talked about unfinished business with the Imps.
So obviously, I didn't finish the season when I was here last time. I just obviously want to get back here and get quickly back into the games, playing week in, week out, and scoring goals again.
Obviously, you've had a number of years now where you've not had to decide what to do in terms of a move, but this year's been the first year you've had that option. What is it about Lincoln that has made you choose this club?
Obviously, I've got great memories here. I've really enjoyed my time on loan, and I want to obviously recreate those memories and get back playing. Make sure that I'm playing week in, week out, and enjoying my football again.
Tyler Walker, we remember, scored some spectacular goals. Also, was the guy who got on the end of crosses. Have you developed your game, or is that still your main strengths and main skills?
Whenever I'm training every day, I want to get better. So I hope I've got better, and I want to show that. While I'm here, I want to get better again. Do you know what I mean? You never stop learning. So I'm looking forward to showing all the things that I showed before and more.
How useful has that spell been at Coventry for you, being in the Championship and playing at that higher level?
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it there. There was a great team. Obviously, playing with great players, and it's a great experience to play in the Championship. And I enjoyed my time there.
And are you hoping you can take the momentum of last season in terms of what Coventry did and what they achieved into your time now at Lincoln?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I want to bring my experience to Lincoln again, and just show everyone what I can do. And like I say, obviously we got to the playoff final, so that was an experience. I didn't get to play in it, obviously, but that experience in itself, I've learned from, and hopefully I can bring all that here.
Or although it's not been too long since you were at the football club, I guess there's not many people left that you know. It's all change, isn't it? Really, apart from the surroundings.
Yeah, well, obviously there's still a few old faces that I know, and it's good to see them. And obviously, good. The team looks really good this year, and some good new signings as well. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck in and hitting the ground running.
Yeah, looking through your last few years, I think Rico's probably the only player that you would have played alongside at Portsmouth. I guess you're looking forward to rekindling that relationship.
Yeah, Rico's a really good player. Definitely looking forward to playing with him. Ali was a young lad when I was at Mansfield, and I remember how good he was in training and stuff. And I've been watching his career, and obviously him do well. So I'm looking forward to playing with him as well.
Does it make it easier when you've been at a club that you don't have to do your due diligence, that you know what to expect when you come to Lincoln, that you don't have to think, am I doing the right thing or not?
I guess it makes it slightly easier. Obviously, I'm slightly more comfortable in a setting that I've been in before. I know what what like the fans, obviously having the rapport with the fans. But I don't take that for granted, and I wanna build the relationship even more. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to getting started and getting going.
Obviously, you had the spell at Portsmouth, which maybe didn't go to plan as you would have liked. Do you feel there's a point to prove at League One level and a point to prove that you are capable of scoring goals on a regular basis?
Yeah, obviously, sometimes things don't work out the way you want. I still learned a lot from my time there. Had a good time there. Obviously, played with Rico and things like that. So you can always learn from things. And yeah, obviously, I'm just looking forward to like I say, playing week in, week out, getting opportunities and taking them.
That's Lincoln City striker, new signing Tyler Walker speaking to me. You can hear the latest on Lincoln City every week on the Hope and Glory podcast, which is available to download on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And in fact, we'll have a bonus episode for you post-match today with all your post-match reaction to this game if you do have to leave us before we head off at 6 o'clock to the beats with Dean Jackson. As you can probably hear a little bit, the wind is blowing around here at the Jakeman's Community Stadium. A good showing of Lincoln City fans over on the opposite side to where I am in the main stand, and Boston United fans as well making their way in here to the main stand here at the JCS, ready for kick-off at 3 o'clock. We're going to hear from midfielder Ethan Arahan before 3 as well, looking ahead to this game and also just reflecting on pre-season so far. But time for some more music now. Let's head back to the noughties with Sugar Babes and Push the Button. Sugar Babes and Push the Button at 28 minutes past 2. We do have pre-season action today involving other Lincolnshire sides as well. One game kicking off a little earlier at 2 o'clock. Stamford, recently promoted, playing in step 3 of non-league football next season, and in their fixtures release yesterday as well, starting at home against Kettering, who's one of Boston United's opponents last season. They're taking on League One side now, one of Lincoln's opponents this year, Stevenage, in what was a 2 o'clock kickoff. Currently 1-1 there. Stamford taking the lead through Ricky Miller, former Boston United striker, now back at Stamford. Stevenage equalising through Drake Forster-Caskey. So there is the latest with regards to that. Big day as well for Gainsborough Trinity, who are celebrating their anniversary. They're taking on Manchester United team, a Manchester United team, in fact, that will include Tom Huddleston, who's part of their coaching staff now. Looks like mainly an under-23s team, which is headed across to play Gainsborough Trinity today. But great to see that as well. Hopefully a big crowd there, Gainsborough Trinity, this afternoon for that game, for that anniversary game, which is happening at the North Home. We'll hear from Ethan Arahan shortly here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire about his pre-season so far after Chic. That's Chic on BBC Radio Lincolnshire Hope and Glory. We're live from the pre-season friendly between Boston United and Lincoln City, which gets underway in less than half an hour. Reminder, we're going to have coverage of the next 3 Lincoln City pre-season games this weekend, next weekend at Crewe, and then finally against Rotherham United at Sinsel Bank before the big kick-off a week later with Lincoln City at Bolton, Boston United at Buxton. Commentary of Imps and the Pilgrims home and away throughout the season here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Let's hear more from Lincoln City ahead of the game though. Ethan Arahan was a player who had a real big impact when he signed in January. He's now looking to make an even bigger impact in his first full season here at Lincoln City, and he's been talking about the ability to keep fit during the off-season.
The last thing you want to be coming back is unfit, and going off all the scores and the testing that we've done on the first day, it seemed like everyone came back in really good shape, and that stands in good stead for the couple of weeks ahead. And as you said, we all worked hard during off season, and we all worked hard when we got back, and it is very important to do that. Yeah.
When it comes to pre-season games, of course the result doesn't really matter, but what is it the manager's trying to look from you, do you think, as a team and as individuals? He's
just wanted us to get our identity, straight from the first stop. What game he told us what he expects of us this season, and what, obviously it's, the main thing is almost fitness, but can you take the principles that we're going to take into the first game of the season against Bolton? Can we not start that against Stockport tonight against Kingsland? So it's all about fitness, but also the other side of it, you need to start looking forward to these competitive games, and we need to start playing the way that we want to play.
We don't want to give away all the secrets, of course, of the game plan, but we're going to see a much different Lincoln City style from last season.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be roughly the same. The manager knows what he wants. I think we'll play the 5 at the back. We're bringing more bodies in. We've got some new bodies with us as well. So we've got an identity, and we'll stick to that. And it's did us well last season, and why can we not do that again this season and go even further?
For yourself, having had that settling in period and a good start to your Lincoln career, I guess you're looking forward to really kick-starting it in August and having that full season ahead.
Yeah, I spoke to the manager, and we said there's no bedding in period now. I had my sort of 6 months, couple of months bedding in period. Obviously coming in January, halfway through the season, and now it's time to hit the ground running sort of thing again, and pick up from where I left it last season.
And do you feel like you learnt a lot from that spell in League One last year to know what to expect come that opening day against Bolton?
Yeah, I think so. It's learned on the job almost. I played most teams last season. I know there's a lot more teams I haven't played, but I played a good amount of teams. Some at the top of the table, some at the bottom of the table. So I got a good mix, and as you said, I've learned quickly what you can expect, and we'll be expecting the same from most teams again this season.
That's Ethan Arahan, the Lincoln City midfielder, speaking ahead of this afternoon's game against Boston United. He does start today as part of the Lincoln City 11. Lucas Jensen, Jaden Brown, Ethan Arahan, Rico Hackett, Alistair Smith, Danny Mandroy, Paulie O'Connor the captain, Ben House, Lass Sorensen, TJ Omer and Sean Rowan. Boston United starting 11, Cameron Gregory, Ethan Sefton, Brad Nicholson, Michael Boswick, Tom Leake, Keaton Ward, Martin Woods, Kelsey Mooney, Michael Jassy, Jordan Richards and Zach Mills, both sides with 11 substitutes, so lots of changes expected during the game, as well as the Boston United players who are not starting the game are over to our left hand side in the corner. The ones that are starting the game over the opposite side, same with Lincoln City, just going through some shooting routines. Around 500 or so, I'd say, fans currently in the stadium, so hopefully a good crowd here as the sun is shining in this part of Lincolnshire. I know it's a bit of a mixed day, I think it's fair to say, in terms of the weather across the county, but hopefully we'll have the sun out for this afternoon's game, which gets underway in just over 20 minutes time. Right, let's have some more music. This is Lewis Capaldi, Just Be Good to Me, here on Hope and Glory. Before that, Lewis Capaldi and Forget Me. It is 2:45, which means we're 15 minutes away from kick-off in this pre-season friendly between Boston United and Lincoln City. Just having a quick flick through the matchday programme, which has been produced by the Pilgrims for these pre-season games. Second of the 4 home games they have here over the next few weeks. They've got Notts County and Grimsby Town to come before the big kick-off on the 5th of August for Boston, away at Buxton. So some real high quality opposition here for Boston United against 4 EFL sides. They lost narrowly to Doncaster Rovers here on Tuesday night, and hopefully good crowds for all 4 to help provide vital money to the club for the upcoming season. So Lincoln City, the opponents today, then Notts County and then Grimsby Town to come before that kick-off column from the Boston United chairman David Newton, explaining about the reasonings behind the change to the hybrid training system which they've gone for this year, which includes the 3 days training rather than the 2 evenings training. So you can read that in the club's match day programme. Also talk of the new under-23s and new women's side as well that Boston United will have for the upcoming season. So plenty to be excited about here if you're involved with Boston United. Certainly a very vibrant club at the moment, with lots going on both on and off the pitch. The few more fans I can just see, with the stand not being built yet currently to my right, so I can see a few fans just making their way around the ground, getting into the stadium ready for kick-off at 3 o'clock. We've got good support from both teams at the moment, which is good to see, and I'm sure there'll be a few more making their way through those turnstiles before we get underway in less than a quarter of an hour's time. Let's have some more music now. Nick Jonas first. That's ABBA here on Hope and Glory. We're heading towards kick-off between Boston United and Lincoln City. We We're bringing you coverage of the game as it goes along. We won't be bringing you kick-by-kick commentary, as pre-season isn't always the most exciting of afternoons in terms of football, in terms of the action which happens on the pitch. But we will keep you up to date and bring you any of those chances as they go along here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Just to update you with what's gone on so far today in terms of pre-season action, we're at half-time in the game at Stamford, taking on League One side Stevenage. Currently 1-1 there at the moment. Ricky Miller scoring for Stamford. And Gainsborough Trinity are in action this afternoon as they take on a Manchester United 11 as part of their anniversary celebrations. So we'll let you know any goals that go in there as well. Throughout the afternoon here on Hope and Glory, two teams will be out next after Anne-Marie and Shania Twain. That's Anne-Marie and Shania Twain. You join us at the perfect moment as the two teams make their way out here at the Jakeman's Community Stadium for pre-season action. It's Boston United taking on Lincoln City, and just in time as well, the rain has arrived once again here at the JCS. It is chucking it down at the moment, and good to see good travelling support making the trip from Lincoln up the A15, but also great home support as well, ready for this game. Let's run you through your two teams then. Boston United, Cameron Gregory starts in goal. We've got Ethan Sefton, Brad Nicholson, Michael Boswick, the captain against his former side, Tom Leake, Keaton Ward, Martin Woods, Kelsey Mooney, Michael Jesse, Jordan Richards and Zach Mills. For Lincoln City, starting in goal, Lucas Jensen, Jaden Brown, Ethan Arahan, Rico Hackett, Alistair Smith, Danny Mandroyu, Captain Pordy O'Connor, Ben House, Lass Sorensen, TJ Omer and Sean Rowan. 11 subs for both teams as well, which we'll try and keep abreast of throughout the afternoon. As we say, we're not going to be doing full commentary because Craig Singleton, club secretary, you've seen many pre-season games as well over the years. They're not the most exciting, are they?
I think we'd do well to pad a whole 90 minutes of commentary for a friendly. But yeah, good to be back. Good run out against Doncaster Rovers on Tuesday night. I know Lincoln have already had a couple of games as well, so good support from both sets of fans. Lincoln have got the whole of that east stand today, and they've over half filled it, so it's a great effort, and some valuable money in the coffers.
Yeah, second of four huge pre-season games here for Boston as well, against good opposition.
Yeah, probably in some respects too tougher pre-season really. 4 League 1 and 2 sides it's probably not a real gauge of where United are at, but I think when those games are offered, you've got to take them, and it's important to strike that right balance, that if United don't look quite right, then it's not necessarily that they're that far away, they're just obviously up against superior opposition.
As we do get underway, then it will be Boston getting underway. And as I say, we'll bring you any of the action if it gets close to the goal, but having watched 90 minutes of Kings Lynn on Tuesday, it didn't happen too often for either team. So, as I say, we'll be talking matters Boston United, talking matters Lincoln City as well. Rob Makepeace, Craig Singleton with you here on Hope and Glory on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. And the first thing we have to talk about is, because of the way pre-season works, both teams are in their brand new away kits, and I think both have gone down extremely well, Craig. I know Lincoln have had record sales on the opening day, done really, really well, and the same with Boston as well, done really well.
Yeah, we've had a initial allocation of about 500, and I think we're into single figures now of what's left. It's been phenomenally received. Don't know what your initial thought was when you saw it.
I really like it. I mean, it's a retro-y kind of. You'd almost. The first thing I thought of, and I googled straight away, was in Culverhouse in his Norwich City days. It's the kind of kit he would have worn, that style, isn't it? Early 90s feel to it.
Yeah, he's not had any input into it because they're picked so far in advance. I think it was done before he was even our manager. But yeah, obviously you see the drawings and the concepts and of what might come up, and until it actually gets here, you're never quite sure. But it's definitely going to be a Marmite kit. There will be some that dislike it intently, but like I say, 95% of folks have really loved it, and like we say, we've sold 500 already, so for an away shirt, that's a phenomenal amount.
Yeah, certainly I've seen quite a few people around the ground wearing the new kits, as you would do at this stage of the season. Not missing any of the action, 2 minutes in. Still goalless here if you are just joining us as the ball goes long. Michael Boswick going up against his former side today, heading away the ball. And another thing, Lincoln City's away kit announced the other day with the signing of Tyler Walker, a nice plain white effort with the green trim on it.
Yeah, I was a little bit intrigued what it was going to look like, because we'd had a tip-off that we were going to see a new kit today. I think initially it wasn't, from speaking to Bill, it wasn't going to be unveiled until today. But then Tyler Walker popped up in the week, and I think it seemed too good an opportunity for Lincoln to turn down. So it maybe came out 2 or 3 days earlier than they were originally intending. But yeah, another very nice effort. I know Lincoln have changed suppliers this year, as we have. And some nice kits on show by the looks of things.
As the ball does come forward for Boston United, Zach Mills does win the Pilgrims a throw and a chance to maybe get one in the box here for Boston United in these early opening minutes, just 2.5 minutes in. We'll have coverage of Lincoln City's 3 Saturday pre-season games. And Jaden Brown, I think, has just suffered a bit of a knock, and he's suggesting that there was an elbow involved there. So Jaden Brown is going to have a little bit of treatment here. And he's not happy. It's just above the right eyebrow that he's got a bit of a cut, it seems, Craig, that needs attending to.
Yeah, he was suggesting a flailing arm, wasn't he? I didn't see it. It was jostling with his man, wasn't he, to make the clearance, but nothing particularly looked untoward. I think the United fans down there are a little bit frustrated that he just dropped to his knees still on the pitch, when I guess they feel he could be doing that off the pitch and allowing play to go on. But
yeah, the early frustrations of fans, it's their pre-season as well, isn't it? They need to get their gripes out like you would on a normal Saturday afternoon. So Jaden Brown just needed a little bit of treatment here. The new signing for the Imps, last season part of that Sheffield Wednesday side who had that dramatic promotion through League One up into the Championship. He was released and made his, I suppose what you would call his debut in terms of his first appearance in a Lincoln City shirt on Tuesday night in that draw with Kings Lynn, who were one of Boston United's opponents again this year.
yeah, interesting to see how that unfolded on Tuesday night. 1-1. You were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough, isn't it, to tell with pre-season. And Kings Lynn obviously have had quite a change around with the manager leaving towards the end of last season and a few of the players following him down to Aldershot over the summer period, but certainly look a physical side, Kings Lynn.
Yeah, I've sort of been keeping an eye on it from a distance, and they're certainly going to be a different side, but it'll be interesting, as it will with Boston, how the two sides obviously shape up. A lot of changes on both. Change of manager for Kings Lynn, like you say.
It'll be intriguing. So Boston do have the throw, which Mills elects to go back to Tom Leake, and then Boswick. So it is 0-0 at the moment, 5 minutes in. Boston trying to get forward, but again Lincoln clear, and we'll keep you up to date with regards to any chances as the game goes on. And Jaden Brown now bandaged up. He's just awaiting the referee's approval to be able to go back on, and he is allowed back on. So we've got the full complement of 22 players on the pitch, 22 players on the bench as well, Craig, because that's what pre-season's all about as well, isn't it? As Lincoln try get forward with a good tackling on Mandroy, but yeah, 22 substitutes to choose from today as well.
Yeah, not sure Lincoln's intentions. I don't think it'll be a 11 for 11 swap for United. I think quite a few will go to 60, 75, possibly even 90 minutes today. So I think some of those might not even get off the bench, but Lincoln, I would imagine, are probably near enough going to go 2 11s, as I believe they did at Kings Lynn on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens as Lincoln do try and get forward with Rico Hackett. We'll be happy to see Tyler Walker. They did link up for a short time at Portsmouth. Walker's spell maybe not the most prolific there, and you can hear an interview with Tyler Walker on the Hope and Glory podcast, which is available to download now on BBC Sounds. You say Boston, a couple of pre-season games so far, and it's always tough to tell, but who are the players, Craig, from a standpoint, who do you think's going to really Boston fans will take a liking to straight away?
Well, I think the most obvious one is Michael Boswick, obviously a real leader, still playing in League Two last season, legendary status at Lincoln City and Peterborough United, real warrior. On and off the pitch.
A coup to get him, isn't it? You know, somebody who was playing regularly for Stevenage last year.
Yeah, he lives in Bourne, so I think he'd got released by Stevenage, who went up to League One. Probably looked at his options. I know there were probably some London clubs in the National League that were keen, but he settled in Bourne, wanted to Probably.
As Lincoln come forward with Ben House, goes for the early strike, gathered by Gregory.
I don't like the saying, but perhaps part of the project, perhaps see something here that the club have obviously changed model by going hybrid. It's now hopefully going to be a 1-2 year plan to get into the National League, and him and Martin Woods, I think, see themselves as the elder statesman of this side. That's predominantly a very young side, and Ian Culverhouse obviously famed for his coaching, and he's going to have a lot of time now with the players on the training ground. So different model completely, but I think it's one that probably needed to happen eventually, given how long United have spent in this league without being able to get out of it.
Yeah, Michael Boswell would say it's a huge player for Lincoln City during that time with the Imps, and he's just a warrior, isn't he? He does everything. It just looks so easy to him at times, doesn't it? What he does.
Yeah, he does. See his third game in today in pre-season, but just leads by example. He's first one in the morning at training and setting the standard on and off the pitch. He just can't get over how quiet a guy he is, though. He's very, very reserved. Guess you've picked up on that from a media point of view.
Doesn't like interviews. No, I think that's fair to say. I think in all his time at Lincoln, I think I interviewed him twice, and one was on the promotion day where I couldn't let him off because it was the promotion. But yeah, he's the complete opposite character on and off the pitch, isn't he?
It's just the way he plays as a player. You think he'd be quite brash and outspoken, but he's the complete opposite. He's very quiet, very reserved. Obviously one of those that lets his actions on the pitch do the talking.
Yeah, it's going to be a key part. And the other player you mentioned, Martin Woods as well, in the central midfield, who has been playing at this level, but another very experienced man, more experienced than Michael Boswick.
Yeah, a couple of years older, probably played more games. I think Boswick's in the 700s, Woods probably 800s, but both have had excellent careers. Woods north and south of the border. He's played for 3 or 4 clubs in Scotland, but left-footed as well, so it gives United a different option in there. A bit of a set-piece specialist. Rattled the crossbar against Doncaster on Tuesday, so I think a lot of emphasis is going to be on those two from an experience point of view, along with Zach Mills.
Coming up to the 10-minute mark, still goalless here between Boston United and Lincoln City. Boston currently with the ball in the midfield area. There's only been the real one shot from Ben House, which was a daisy cutter comfortably saved by Cameron Gregory. Away from that, we had no chance at the moment, although Gregory's been dispossessed by Ben House, and it will be a penalty to Lincoln City. Cameron Gregory taking way too much time on the ball. Ben House just nipping in front of him, and well, for the referee James Bell, it's a good pre-season decision to make, because that's probably one of the easiest he'll have all season.
Yeah, I think so. Gregory just took his eye off the ball, didn't he? House went down. Easy decision for the referee.
Bit of a discussion between two Lincoln players here as to who will have the penalty. Now, Danny Mandroiu took one on Tuesday night against Kings Lynn, missed but scored the rebound. And I wonder him and Rico Hackett were the ones discussing it, and it looks like Mandroiu has won that battle. So is it going to be this time Mandroiu scores, or will it be a second consecutive miss from the spot, which then you would imagine puts him out of contention for taking penalties in the season? Mandroiu about to step up, right-footed, puts it to the left of the goal, and Lincoln City with an early lead in this pre-season game thanks to a Danny Mandroiu penalty.
Yeah, a bit of pressure on him there, I guess, because like you say, if he misses again, then that's probably his penalty taken done with for the time being. But don't see many players miss 2 in a row, do you? So nice start to the game for him. Definite penalty. Gregory just took too long. He knows what he's done, doesn't need telling. Let's hope he's got that one out of the way nice and early.
We should just say the pre-season game, which has got underway between Stamford and Stevenage, they're about to get underway for the second half, but the referee delayed it because of the storm, which then suggests that maybe that's going to appear here at some point.
Yeah, it is forecast around about 4 o'clock, I think.
So we'll wait and see what happens. We might have a little delay at some point. We'll have to wait and see. But it's Lincoln who are trying to get forward again down the right-hand side. But yeah, there was no concern in terms of the game today being on the pitch is in a pretty good condition. Although I think the grounds would have liked a little bit more rain.
Yeah, he's been asking for rain all summer. We've had plenty of it in the last week, but job was nearly done by then, really, with preparation. But yeah, it's been a hot summer. I think he'll tell you it's the hottest June on record. So probably about a week behind where he'd really like to be. But and you've got Doncaster and Lincoln lined up and raring to go. You've just got to get on with it, unfortunately. And I don't think Tuesday night did any damage, and I'm sure today won't. It was very good playing surface. Doncaster were very complimentary on Tuesday night. I don't think there'll be many better Football League pitches, so teams coming in pre-season have got no worries on that front.
Gainsborough Trinity taking on a Manchester United 11 as part of their 150th anniversary celebrations, and Manchester United's 11 leading by a goal to nil. That Stamford game has now got underway in the second half, drawing 1-1 with Stevenage. Ricky Miller, a former Boston United man, seems to be back there at the moment, as Lincoln look to come forward with Jayden Brown down the left, sprinting to keep it in, and he's unable to do so. But yeah, that's an interesting move potentially, isn't it?
Has he signed? Or
I don't think he has. No, I think he's just there to try and get himself fit, but you never know, do you?
Yeah, he didn't have the best spell at Grantham, did he? Very injury hit, but I guess if he is fit, there's still not many better at that level. Probably even at this level, you would say. He's trying to think what he'll be, 33, something like that now. So certainly knows where the goal is.
Second injury of the pre-season game between the Imps and Pilgrims here at the Jakeman's Community Stadium. This time it's Michael Jassie's down.
Yeah, I don't know what he's done. Taken a whack to the ribs, potentially.
Yeah, it's him and Paulie O'Connor, wasn't it, in a tussle. Looks very innocuous, but yeah, he's down holding that kind of rib area, isn't he? The right-hand side. Just receiving treatment from Carroll, the physio here, as a few Lincoln City players come over to take on some fluids. And Lincoln City leading 14 minutes in here, thanks to a goal from Danny Mandroya from the penalty spot. Ben House stealing the ball off Cameron Gregory, who had a swing and a miss. And there was Mandroya to step up to score his second goal of pre-season, and to give the Imps an early lead here. Jassie's back on his feet and looks like he's going to be okay to continue and reunited with Ian Culverhouse this year.
Yeah, obviously moved on from Kings Lynn initially to join Chesterfield, but it never really happened for him there. He had a spell at Dover where he got a hat-trick actually in a 6-5 defeat at Wrexham. I think that's probably what he's best known for in the National League. But yeah, back with Ian Culverhouse, his former manager, and probably the standout performer from Tuesday night, really. Only came on for half an hour, but looked really lively, and Warnen scored a penalty. So he's off and running in that respect, but not quite sure whether he's an absolute out-and-out striker or more of a wide player. I guess he will find out, but he's playing up front in a 2 today with Kelsey Mooney. I'm sure with a good run of games he'll be back to get a fair return of goals.
Yeah, just Jimmy Knowles, the other striker, missing today.
Yeah, not sure what his injury is. Just took a knock. I think he was laid on the floor in the dressing room before the game doing some stretching, so it didn't look like it was anything too serious. Probably just bumps and bruises at the end of the second week of pre-season. So with still 4 more games to play before Buxton, I guess there's no point taking a chance with him today.
No, there isn't. 16 minutes in. It is Boston 0, Lincoln 1 in this pre-season game here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We'll have commentary of the Imps and Pilgrims throughout the season, as Boston getting themselves into a little bit of trouble here. Tom Leake managing to clear it forward though, and it goes out of play for a Lincoln City throw. As we say, there's 11 subs for each team on the respective benches today, so a few up in the stand watching the game, as well as the dark clouds start to descend. I know when I just arrived there was a huge rainstorm. I managed to leg it into the ground, and then there was another one about 2 minutes later, which I was getting wet even at the top of the main stand.
Yeah, it's been a very changeable day, but we're going to get some more bad weather, aren't we? I think any time. Don't think we're going to get away without it.
No, as I say.
Just hope we don't get the lightning, because that's when the referees probably get involved and say it's probably ought to take a break, really. But
yeah.
just looking at the latest Well, the latest Met Office forecast doesn't suggest any rain, to be honest. Less than 10%. So
as Sean Rowan's now gone down off the pitch and looks in a lot of pain as well. Sean Rowan, he's saying that he's now back to his feet and seems okay to continue. Recently signing that new contract with Lincoln City. He's now having a word with the linesman, playing as a left-sided centre half today as part of that Lincoln City back five we saw a lot of last season. So already a few injuries, but nothing too serious. Brown with the bandage on his head for Lincoln City, and then Sean Rowan and Michael Giassi also receiving treatment at the moment. There's a healthy crowd in today. We'll get the figures a little later on, Craig, but as I say, it's always important, isn't it, I think, for non-league clubs, or whether it's league clubs invited, having Premier League clubs, which I know is very rare now with the amount of pre-season tours that those clubs do, but it's healthy to get some finance in, isn't it, in pre-season?
yeah, definitely. The games that we did assemble this year are all for fairly local, established, big football league clubs, which is important. And I don't mean to sound ungrateful, but that's as good as you're going to get nowadays, because you're not going to get a Manchester United. You're not going to get. Well, I know they're at Gainsborough today, but you're not going to get any level of team from a club like that. I think you probably virtually rule out the Championship as well. It's just the way it's gone. They all go off touring. You have to maximise the clubs that you have available, and we're grateful to Lincoln and Doncaster and Notts County and Grimsby for playing us, because, like I say, I think there's benefits all round for clubs, and Lincoln fans obviously get a game near enough on their doorstep. I know Lincoln have had pitch work done and can't play at home till the 29th, so next best thing, I guess, is a fairly local away game.
Yeah, I was having a quick chat with Brad, the Lincoln City groundsman, who says he's looking forward to having that game. And then he's got a little bit of a break as well, because they don't have a home game. The first two games in terms of League and Cup are both away from home, so
that's good for us, really. We've got the four friendlies, but then a 2.5 week gap, really, because first game's away, last friendly's away, no midweek game in that first week, so 4 weeks today is the first game at home. Just gives us a chance, really, pitch to recover and us to get general things ready around the stadium. It's quite happy with the way it's fallen this year.
Yeah, the fixtures released a few weeks ago. That first home game for Boston, first away game for Boston United against Buxton, the first home game against South Shields. There is a real gloomy feel now around the ground, as it is still 1-0 to Lincoln City 20 minutes in, but certainly you can just feel the temperature dropping ever so slightly, and well, it seems bizarre to say with it being a pre-season friendly in July, but the floodlights are going to be needed at this rate.
We were having the debate with the ref before the game. Do you want them on? And 1 minute he's saying yes when it's chucking it down, then it's bright sunshine, and he's probably not necessary now, but he took the decision to start with them, and probably a good job he did, because I've got sunglasses on, but I'm about to change.
It's extremely dark, isn't it? It's Boston looking to get forward down the right, and it's Zach Mills who's racing in towards the edge of the penalty area. Mandroyo is back. Mills clips it towards the far post, but there's way too much on it for Kelsey Mooney. It will go out of play. Probably Boston's first real chance to try and challenge that Lincoln City defence, and just keeping an eye on Sean Rowan for Lincoln. Just doesn't seem to be moving freely. As here comes the rain.
I think Brown and Rowan down this side are both taking whacks, haven't they? Brown looks okay, although he's got his head bandaged. Giassi for Boston, so it's been a casualty hit in 22 minutes.
Which is the last thing you want in pre-season, isn't it? It's the one thing you ask any coach or manager, the one thing they want from pre-season is to get through 90 minutes without any injuries.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, isn't it? Yes, they want the fitness and opportunity to work on patterns of play and things like that, but you ask any manager, number one priority, no injuries today, and I'm sure that's the case for Ian Culverhouse and Mark Kennedy this afternoon.
Especially when you see there's been quite a few, hasn't there, in the last kind of 7 days or so. You've seen clubs that have announced that players have suffered long-term injuries, and it's going to see them out for, 3/4 of a season, a full season.
That's absolutely the last thing you want. It's probably bad enough losing them for first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, but if you're missing them for months, particularly if they're a marquee signing that you've pinned a lot of hopes and dare I say it, money onto, that you can't afford to have them sat around doing nothing.
Coats are coming out for a few of the supporters and the management as well of both teams. Not Paul Bastock though. He's sticking with the shorts and the jumper. But as Cameron Gregory nearly pressurised by Ben House once again into a mistake. It was nearly a carbon copy of the one which led to the penalty, which gave Lincoln the lead halfway through this first half now, as the Storm has arrived here. And well, I think this is perfect pre-season routine and weather, because you're going to get this in the winter, so you might as well practice in the summer with it as well.
Well, if last year's anything to go by, we'll get this on the first day at Buxton.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, so the weather has taken a turn as Lincoln look to build an attack down the left-hand side at the moment, with Ethan Arahan into Ben House in the midfield area. Arahan picks it up once again, goes to the right to Alistair Smith, joining from Sutton in the summer, former Mansfield man, so knows these parts very well. And Connor across to Sorensen, and it is dealt with by Lincoln City as the rain once again stops, and Lincoln looking to get down the left-hand side with Jaden Brown now into the penalty area. Brown plays it across but can't get enough on it, and it's an easy gather for Cameron Gregory. But we're certainly seeing the wide players for Lincoln City, the two wing-backs, getting forward quite a lot in the opening 25 minutes.
Yeah, particularly this left-hand side, hasn't it, through Brown. Is it Sorensen playing on the right?
Yeah.
Looked to get forward a couple of times, but it's predominantly been Brown. You know, Lincoln not really had a clear-cut opportunity other than the penalty. United certainly haven't had a clear-cut chance yet. They're struggling to find that opening at the minute, but I think that's a free kick.
Yeah, the reason we decided not to do full commentary is the reasons that are in front of us now. We're 23.5 minutes in, and well, 24 minutes in, and we've probably seen 2 shots on target and 1 was from the spot.
So who are Lincoln missing today then, apart from Tyler Walker?
Just Tyler Walker. Jordan Wright not involved, but he was here warming up, so I would imagine Lucas Jensen's going to get the 90 minutes in goal. But apart from that, it's a fully fit squad. No Hakiva Delican, but I think the idea is that his future is not at Lincoln City, so he's not involved in the pre-season games. As Boston look to flick it in towards the right-hand side, Jensen comes and gathers it. Former Burnley goalkeeper, played against Lincoln City last season for Accrington Stanley. Huge 6'6" goalkeeper. Did a lot of mountain biking in his teenage years. That was his #1 sport. And fell out of love with football for a while and went mountain biking.
Is he the son of Brian Jensen?
No, he isn't. No.
I thought the connection might be with Burnley.
With a Burnley connection, no. Ball is with Lincoln out on the right-hand side. Hackett goes to play it to Sorensen, who just slipped, but Sorensen has time to deliver the cross and does deliver it into Ben House, and there's a chance, and there is a goal for Lincoln City, and it's Jaden Brown, who we just talked about a few minutes ago, getting himself into the penalty area, edge of the 6-yard box, and put the left-footed finish into the roof of the net, and Lincoln with that 2-0 lead.
Yeah, it was Sorensen this time, down that right-hand side. Initially I thought the ball was too strong for him, but he kept it in, delivered a decent cross, and I think United were concentrating on the attacking players, and Jaden Brown crept in, and nice left foot finish, rising into the roof of the net. Nothing Cameron Gregory could do. And City have a 2-goal lead.
Yes, so the two wing-backs for Lincoln linking up there, Ben House with the swing and a miss, but Jaden Brown able to score for City from left wing-back, and the Imps 2-0 up here in 26 minutes as Michael Boswick gets closed down. And as I say, it's always difficult, isn't it, to judge where you are if you're Boston United, and if you're Lincoln City in that sense, isn't it, when you've got such a gap, you've got the 3 leagues between the two sides.
I just find pre-season tricky, because these are the games that Lincoln expect to win, aren't they? The Colville on Tuesday will be one that Boston will expect to win. It's never quite that straightforward, is it? But you never tend to play anybody from your own level in pre-season, do you? It's any way we would do that is if we went and play a National League South side, which we did a couple of years ago when we went to Chelmsford, but
which nearly happened last year.
Yeah, we were going to Taunton, weren't we? But then I think Paul Cox realised where Taunton was and thought better of it. But I think would have been, with the costs we were quoted for doing it and staying over, I think would have been cheaper going abroad. So
yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it, to try and find people at your level, really, especially whether you're at, I know Boston have got Colville, but the amount of teams like that you come up against in the FA Cup, FA Trophy, and same for Lincoln. League Two, they've got League Two opposition in the League Cup, they've got League Two opposition in the EFL Trophy as well, as the influx come forward again, and it's headed away by Boston. You don't want to come up against teams that you're going to possibly face 4, 5, 6 weeks later.
no, exactly. It's very rare. I know a lot of the Premier League teams now play each other abroad, but it's a little bit different, isn't it? You don't get many League One sides downwards that play each other in pre-season. I guess Colville on Tuesday is as near as United will come, because they came so close to getting promoted last season. They are the strong favourites to win the Southern League again this season. So I think that will be I think that one will be a pretty good marker, really, with how well they've done recently, and I'd probably expect them to get promoted this season. So it'll be interesting to see how United fare on Tuesday night as the Thunder rumbles round.
Yeah, the clouds are extremely low. They're coming in from our right, and as I say, the darkness is descending. At Wimbledon, they just put a roof over, and it's all right, because I can tell you at Wimbledon this afternoon, Marketa Vondrousova has become champion. She has won in straight sets against Onjabor, 6-4, 6-4, becoming the first unseeded woman to win Wimbledon in the Open era. So Marketa Vondrousova is the Wimbledon champion. Coverage continuing on BBC TV, including the wheelchair final with Arthur Hewitt and Gordon Reid in that wheelchair doubles final, and Neil Skupski with Wesley Kulhoff in the men's doubles final as well today at Wimbledon. So plenty going on there. But in the women's final, Marketa Vondrousova 6-4, 6-4-1 against Ons Jabeur, coming champion there at Wimbledon. As well, we couldn't be as far away from a British summer. Well, I suppose we are in a British summer, because this is what happens. We've got storms, we've got rain, we've got wind. We're not guaranteed sunshine here at all. So we're up towards the half-hour mark, and Michael Bostwick's made a mistake, and Ben House is racing in on goal, and he gets tripped up. Play is going on. Rico Hackett has the chance to score, and does score. And Lincoln City find themselves 3-0 up. And once again, it's a horror show for Boston United at the back, and it's a little bit like the opening day of last season. Boston unable to defend, and mistakes are costing them.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent, in fact, isn't it? Thankfully this time it's in a friendly, 3 weeks ahead of the first day. But yeah, Bostwick uncharacteristically there, making an error, and then Nicholson unable to recover it. He had a bit of a hack at House, but he carried on going. In a normal game that would have been probably a red card if he'd gone down. I think play's actually going to be suspended.
Yeah, they are suspending play here, so the referee is asking both sets of players to come off. I think the idea is that they're just going to try and wait the storm out, because it is horrible here. The supporters who are in the front couple of rows, they're all going into the concourse area, because the rain and the wind is howling down here at the Jamin's Community Stadium. Lincoln City finding themselves 3-0 up, but the referee has decided for time being just to suspend play, and it's completely understandable, as we have a huge flash of lightning as well, and a few of the supporters trying to make their way towards the back of the stand and try and find some shelter. The Lincoln City fans are all turning their backs right up to the back of the stand there, and look for some shelter as well, as the lights come on in the stand here. So we've got a suspension of play here at the moment, with Lincoln City leading by 3-0. Just to remind you of what has gone on so far. Danny Mandroiu scoring the first from the penalty spot after Ben House was tripped. Ben House tripped Danny Mandroiu, scoring the penalty. We're getting wet at the back of the main stand. That is how ferocious the wind and the rain is here at Boston. The second goal came in the 26th minute. It was a cross from the right by Lasse Sorensen, put into the back of the net by Jaden Brown, and then Lincoln's third just coming a moment or two ago. It was a mistake once again, this time Michael Boswick losing possession. It was picked up by Ben House. He was then tripped up by Brad Nicholson. Referee could have stopped play. Instead, he allowed play to continue, and Rico Hackett cut inside with his left foot and found the back of the net. So we have a suspension of play here. Usually we say that at Wimbledon, but we're saying it in a pre-season friendly in the football, with Lincoln City leading 3-0 here at Boston United. Let's have some music while we wait for play to get back underway. If you're expecting coverage of Boston United against Lincoln City, well, we do have a suspension of play here, just 31 minutes in. The heavens opened here at the Jakeman's Community Stadium, and the rain and the wind and thunder and lightning suddenly arrive. The rain continues to fall in the background. The wind has died down ever so slightly, and we do keep having the odd rumble of thunder. We're not seeing much lightning, so hopefully we'll be able to get play back underway in a few minutes. But the referee making the sensible decision just to take the players off, just to try and let the storm pass, as this happened a little earlier on at Stamford as well, where their second half was delayed by about 5 minutes while the storm did pass. So hopefully we'll be getting play underway in the next few minutes here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. The referee just laced on that then. He will be resuming with 14 minutes of the first half left to play. I can tell you elsewhere, Gainsborough Trinity have levelled things against that Manchester United 11 in their pre-season game, so that is currently 1-all. Adam's been in touch on Twitter. It says 25 miles north of Boston, and it's not too bad at the moment, just a mild wind and not too many in terms of problems or issues, just overcast and mild. Well, it might be heading your way, Adam, I should suggest. It's been to Stamford, it's now at Boston, we could be making its way towards Lincoln and towards the north of the county as the afternoon progresses. So it is not too nice here at the moment, but hopefully it will pass very shortly, and then we can get that game, the pre-season friendly between Boston United and Lincoln City, back underway, with Lincoln City currently leading by 3-0 goals from the penalty spot for Danny Mandroiu, from Jaden Brown and Rico Hackett as well. The rain has nearly stopped, so we'll have some more music, and then hopefully we'll be back for the latest from Boston United and Lincoln City. Join us as players just got back underway. 13 minutes left of the first half. We had a horrible storm here for about 7 or 8 minutes, where there was torrential rain and thunder and lightning as well, and the referee taking the sensible decision just to take the players off for a few minutes, and supporters all dived into the concourses to keep themselves nice and dry. I don't think I'd ever get to a pre-season friendly, Craig Singleton, where I'd be shivering in the first half, but that's the case. It is pretty chilly.
Yeah, it's a strange day, isn't it? It's like the sunshine might be on the way again now. It's certainly brightened up, but referee's primary concern was the lightning, not having the players out in that for any longer than necessary. But hopefully, touch wood, that's passed now.
Yeah, hopefully that's...
I think it's the storm that was at Stamford.
The Stamford storm, as we'll call it.
Half an hour ago. So.
Yeah, so we'll send a message to Gainsborough Trinity. Be prepared.
It's on the way.
Yeah, hopefully we can get through the final almost hour of this game that we've got remaining. Lincoln City leading by 3-0. Danny Mandroiu, Jaden Brown and Rico Hackett, as once again Cameron Gregory put under pressure by Ben House. This time he is able to clear it, and yeah, Boston United, I'm sure Ian Culverhouse would have been really glad to get in the dressing room, because it was a stage where 2 goals in 5 minutes had really hurt them.
Yeah, it was some bad defending, wasn't it, really, that especially the third goal. It's like I say, the consolation for me is that it's 3 weeks to go, not first day, because that's reminiscent of how United defended against Southport all those months ago on the first day.
Yeah, it's time to get the mistakes out, isn't it, in pre-season? That's what you want to do. You want to get them all out of the way and then hopefully start the season strongly. Boston look to try and build an attack here down the left-hand side with Sefton. He just plays it infield. I've lost my team sheet. I don't know where that's gone. That's gone somewhere, Craig. So we're going to have to gamble on the team here, or ask you to get me another one in the second half. Oh, it's fallen over. There we go. I found it. It's fallen on the floor. The attack came to nothing for the Pilgrims. Ball out of play, but yeah, certainly work to do defensively for Boston United going forward. One man who has scored a few goals though in pre-season, Keaton Ward.
Yeah, not seen much of him today, have we? But got the 2 goals second half at Boston Town last week to win that game, and then he scored a cracking goal here on Tuesday evening against Doncaster.
As Giassi runs forward for the Pilgrims here, out to the right-hand side for Zach Mills. Got Giassi with him as well, looking to turn Pordy O'Connor. Giassi plays it into the penalty area. Mooney can't control it, comes out to Sefton, left-hand corner of the penalty area. Sefton still with it once again. Has to go back into Brad Nicholson. And Lincoln are able to deal with it for the time being with Rico Hackett, but it's picked up by Richards. Out to Sefton once again for Boston. Tries to get the cross in, well blocked, and those Lincoln City fans who dived into the concourse to stay drier back out, and getting the ball back to Boston United after it went out of play for a throw. So we've got about 9 minutes or so of this first half remaining. This pre-season friendly. Reaction to come between 5 and 6 to this game from both managers. As Ethan Arahan has to defend for Lincoln City. Well, here come Boston again with Mills down the right. Gets barged into by Sean Rowan, and that'll be a free kick for Boston in a pretty dangerous position.
Yeah, 23 on 23, and Zach Mills about to put a cross in, but Rowan just left enough on him to knock him off his stride. But since the resumption, it's been nearly all United, hasn't it? For the first time today, we've actually seen some attacking intent and some little bits, 4 or 5 minutes of sustained pressure. I think Ian Culverhouse will want to see a bit more of that as the game progresses.
Yeah, it's his first chance really. Boston have had to put pressure on the Lincoln City goal, so it's infield from the corner flag, probably a good 5 or 6 metres, and just half a metre or so away from the goal line. So decent chance now with the left foot of Martin Woods to try and produce something here. Lucas Jensen on his toes, ready to come and collect potentially, as we see the lightning in the background there. That's what the oohs were about, as Woods plays to the edge of the area. There's a block, and Keaton Ward anyway had messed up his shot, and now Lincoln on the counter-attack, and Boston have just switched off, and it's Lasse Sorensen who's looking to run forward, switches play over to the left-hand side to Danny Mandroiu. Boston trying to get players back here. Mandroiu gets tripped, and now Lincoln City out of nowhere have themselves a free kick on the edge of the area, and that was just a complete switch off from Boston United.
Yeah, it was a waste really, because you were just alluding to the fact it was the first real chance they'd had to put a ball into the box, and then United go on foul, give it straight away. Referee allows Lincoln to take a quick one, and within 4 or 5 seconds they're at the edge of the other box. Keaton Ward has to make a foul, and Lincoln are up there searching for that 4th goal.
Yeah, so free kick from the left-hand corner of the penalty area. Mandroiu and Rico Hackett are the 2 players over it, and we've had quite an exciting few minutes since the resumption. We've been able to keep an eye on what's going on commentary-wise for you while there is action at either goalmouth. So it's going to be Hackett who will have it with the left foot, or Mandroiu with the right. Cameron Gregory prepared for either eventuality, and it is going to be the right foot of Mandroiu who drills it in, headed away by Boston United, as we see both sets of substitutes now going for a warm-up. So Boston United's players just walking in front of us on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side we've got Lincoln City's players warming up, ready for the second half.
Yeah, 22 subs all getting ready. Like I say, I don't think we're going to see that many from United at half-time, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe on the first half display it might change the mind of Ian Culverhouse a little.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think he's going to be pretty angry with some of that defending, pre-season or no pre-season. It was not taking anything away from the Imps, who've obviously scored 3 goals, but the penalty was handed to them, and the third goal certainly was. Second goal was a good move.
And a couple of those players are on the bench, part of Boston's new under-23 setup as well, Craig.
Yeah, got 5 players so far, including Jake Lovelace, the goalkeeper. So, chance for them to get involved. And
oh, Jensen's clearance has ricocheted off Giassi. It's a chance for Mooney, who puts it over the bar with an open goal. Gaping, tried to lift it over the 2 defenders, Rowan and Ioma, and he made a real mess of it.
yeah, it was a presentable chance for United, wasn't it? Jensen didn't make a particularly good job of that. Mooney probably was going to hit it first time, but took it on a little bit, got to the edge of the box, but couldn't find the target. Probably just sums up United's first half in every sense, really.
As we were touching on the under-23s, players that will be predominantly part of the under-23 setup, but have that ability to then make the step up to the first team if they're needed to.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it works, because the under-23s aren't going to play in a league, so there'll be a group of 5, 6, 7, 8 lads that join in with first team training, and I guess 1 or 2 will be involved on match days, but I suspect once the season gets underway you'll see 3 or 4 of those going out on loan to step 3 and 4 probably to get some football, because they're going to need fairly regular football to try and get themselves up to speed, I guess, to really challenge to be a first team player here.
The ball is out of play for a Boston United throw, yeah, so we'll see maybe a few of those under-23 players in the second half for Boston United. Those 3 trialists there as well, Craig.
Yeah, 3 young trialists. They're predominantly with an eye on being under-23 players, I believe, so.
It's probably the first season, I think, in a long, long time we've not seen lots and lots of trialists, have we? We saw a lot with Paul Cox last year, and Craig Elliott the year previously as well. I seem to remember a game or 2 as Giassi, lovely feet, wins a free kick, but yeah, this year not too many trialists. The squad pretty sorted, really, and for Lincoln City we've seen none in any of the pre-season games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a small squad for United, but a settled one to start with. Obviously, if things don't start as the manager wishes, then I guess there'll be 1 or 2 more coming in, but yeah, I don't think there's that much more business to be done, really. It's working with the players that are here now and trying to make them competitive for August the 5th against Buxton, and then the first home game a week later against South Shields.
So we're nearly an hour after kick-off. We had that stoppage of play, suspension of play while the storm happened in front of our eyes, so that's why we're a little bit delayed. So we've got about 2.5 minutes to go until half time, and Boston United with a free kick here left of the D. Keaton Ward is one of them over it, Martin Woods the other. Probably favours the right footer of Ward, this.
Very similar position, just maybe slightly nearer the edge of the box that he scored from on Tuesday, obviously from open play, but still the angle that I suspect he's looking to get on this ball across the keeper down to his left.
Ward leaves it. In fact, it is Woods who takes it. He puts it over the bar. And it's a waste from Boston United, and Lincoln still leading 3-0. Danny Mandroiu, Jaden Brown and Rico Hackett, the goal scorers for Lincoln City in that opening 31 minutes. And, yeah, both sets of substitutes currently going through quite an intense one with either side of the pitch. We'll see how many are made at half time that we'll try and keep you updated with throughout the game. Sometimes it can be quite difficult. I know on Tuesday Lincoln had players coming off and players coming back on as well. In fact, in Alicia, who he came back on after being subbed at half time, so it can get quite confusing. The only good thing is, and I know apart from the trialists, we've got numbers for everybody, and it's not blank shirts, because that's the worst in pre-season, isn't it, Craig? Trying to work out who's who.
Yeah. We usually play when you're off, you're off. You can't go back on unless there's a particularly bad injury or something and you'd be playing with 10. But referees have, well, all the referees we get in for these games are EFL refs, so they're obviously used to a certain standard, and they would usually insist on once you're off, you can't go back on.
Alistair Smith with a hefty challenge in on Ethan Sefton there. Gainsborough Trinity have got to half-time against Manchester United's 11.
He's going to book him here.
It is 1-1. We are going to see a book in here. Yeah, Alistair Smith going to get a book in, which is quite a surprise. I think that's fair to say. I tell you that elsewhere in terms of pre-season action, Stamford leading in at League One side, Stevenage by 2-1. Charles, the latest goal scorer for Stamford. I know it is only pre-season, but that would be quite a result, that would, for Stamford as they get ready for life in the Southern Central Premier Division against a Stevenage side including Carl Piergiani playing today for them.
I think I read Stamford play Kettering first day, don't they?
They do, yeah. That's their opening game. Yep. They've got a tough draw in the sense of being put in that division.
Good league this year, because obviously 3 teams have come down, haven't they?
From National League North, out of the 4 relegated teams, 3 have gone into that league. So
and Colville, I think, will be strong as well. So that's 4 teams straight away that you think would be challenging to an extent.
Ethan Sefton is hobbling towards the touchline as Jaden Brown is also getting some more bandage into his head. And
what a strange first half, eh?
Yeah, now the sunshine's back out again, isn't it? It looks like Ethan Sefton here, this might be the end of his game. I think they're calling for the change. So yeah, Ethan Sefton here is looking like he's going to come off. I mean, we're at the 45 minutes, whether they just decide to let half-time go rather than make the sub now. But yeah, Ethan Sefton is hobbling his way back round. And we talked about it a little earlier on, didn't we? The fact that you don't want to see any injuries in pre-season, especially in a specialist area like left-back.
Yeah, he's the one and only. Well, I guess Nicholson's a left-back, but I think the system that Boston are going to play will be 3 at the back. So Nicholson obviously earmarked as the left-sided centre-half, Sefton as the wing-back. I wasn't at Boston Town last week, but I think Martin played there in the first half, and it's like he's the player coming on. So whether he's going to operate there from the outset here,
yeah, we'll see. As he's just getting prepared, ready to come on. So looks like that change will be made before half-time. Not sure how much longer the referee is going to go on and play, as Sefton gets a round of applause from those Boston fans behind the goal as he makes his way on the journey back round to the dressing room. Lincoln with the cross into the box, and that will go out of play for a goal kick. And well, that should be about that, as the sun is shining.
glorious day
now. Yeah, it's warming up. It's and in fact, there is the half-time whistle. So yeah, what a strange first kind of hour of football here on Hope and Glory for the new season. We had 3 goals, all coming Lincoln City's way, but we had a suspension of play, an injury involved as well, so a bit of everything, Craig, for the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, you couldn't really have asked for much more, could you? But hopefully this sunshine's here to stay now. We can get the next 45 in without too many issues. But on the pitch, City have been superior, haven't they? League One quality has showed, although they've had a big helping hand with goals numbers 1 and 3.
They certainly have. So there we go, we're at half-time. As the music continues to blare around the JCS, with Lincoln City 3-0 up. First goal coming from Danny Mandroya from the penalty spot after Ben House was fouled. Mandroya put it to the goalkeeper's left-hand side to give the Imps the lead. The second coming when the 2 wing-backs linked up. Lost Sorensen with the cross from the right, and Jaden Brown finishing high into the roof of the net for his first Lincoln City goal to make it 2-0. And in the third, it was a mistake from former Imp Michael Boswick. Ben House dispossessing him, running in on goal. Ben Nicholson tripped him up, but Rico Hackett, the advantage was played, and Rico Hackett with a cool and calm left-footed finish to give the Imps a 3-0 lead at the break. We had that suspension of play, we've had everything. Hopefully we'll have a less dramatic second 45 minutes on the way. We'll have to wait and see, though. But at the break here, It is Boston 0, Lincoln City 3. We've got updates of what's been going on elsewhere as well. I can tell you that Stamford currently taking on Stevenage. There was a bit of a delay to the start of that game in the second half because of the storm, but Stamford leading by 2-1 against Stevenage at the moment, and Gainsborough Trinity drawing 1-1 with Manchester United's 11 in that 150th anniversary game as well. Right, we'll have a break for some music for half-time, starting with The Temptations. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire, and well, just to sum up what the afternoon has been like weather-wise, we've now got the sprinklers on the pitch. We had a rainstorm which suspended play in the first half here, and now instead we've got bright sunshine. The warmth is starting to help as well after a pretty chilly first 45 minutes, but Lincoln and Boston players currently out on the pitch going through their half-time routines, and we'll get the second half underway shortly, where I'm sure we'll have numerous changes for both teams. Lincoln City's coaching staff, in fact, have just made their way out, and I'm sure we'll see the players in a few moments or so. I can tell you that Stamford did beat Stevenage by 2-1, so a big win for them today. We will also be hearing, keeping an eye on the latest with regards to Gainsborough Trinity, who are taking on a Manchester United 11 as well as part of their anniversary celebrations, and we'll have a reaction from both the camps of Lincoln City and Boston United between 5 and 6 on the show. And if you miss any of it, we'll have podcasts for Lincoln City, the Hope and Glory podcast, which will be available to download, and then we will also have for Boston United the latest from them up on BBC Sounds as well. We'll put links on our social media pages. BBC Radio Lincolnshire Sport is our Facebook page, and on Twitter we are BBC Sport Links. So they're the two places you need to go to get the latest on our local football teams ahead of the new season, which gets underway 3 weeks today. Both teams away to teams beginning with B. Lincoln City at Bolton, Boston United at Buxton. Will have full match commentary of both games on BBC Radio Lincolnshire 3 weeks today. As I say, the teams are now just making their way back out, and this is where we really have to work it out as commentators from time to time to see who is still there and who isn't there, and who is missing from a Lincoln City point of view. I think they are the same 11 by the looks of it. I can't see any changes as we see Boston United's players make their way out for the start of the second half as well. And again, we'll be knowing there's one change. It'll be Keziah Martin coming on for Ethan Sefton, who was injured at the end of that first half in a challenge with Alistair Smith, who did end up being booked as well. So the one enforced change there. We can also see Ryan Hand has come on for Boston United as well. So Hand and Keziah Martin both coming on for the Pilgrims. So they've made their two changes. The other Boston player to come off is Michael Giassi by the looks of it. So he's off, as is the injured Ethan Sefton, and on will come Ryan Hand and Keziah Martin. Looks like for Lincoln there is going to be a change, and it will be Jovan McCarmer who's getting prepared to come on. Again, we'll see if that happens and develops at the start of the second half. He's just in a conversation with Mark Kennedy at the moment, so whether they're going to wait a moment or two for that or not. Lincoln are happy and ready to kick off. The referee is just getting his earpiece in and ready to get the second half underway. Jovan McCarver now making his way back to his seat, so it looks like he's not going to be coming on straight away. And the referee is happy for us to get back underway. And so Boston United, Lincoln City, as we have those two changes from the first half for Boston United, with Ryan Hand and Keziah Martin on for Michael Giassi and Ethan Sefton. Here on Hope and Glory on BBC Radio Lincolnshire what can Boston do in this second half as Hand looks to make his way forward, one of those players involved in the Boston United under-23 setup for this season. Ball is with Jordan Richards as he goes back to Michael Boswick. At fault for the third goal, but again dispossessed by Ben House. Woods tries to flick it on. O'Connor calls of handball against him. Jensen has to go flying across to prevent it from going out of play for a corner, which it doesn't. And it does give the Imps a chance now just to reset themselves with the score still 3-0 here. Lincoln back in pre-season action next Saturday away at Crewe. Again, we'll have coverage of that game, hoping to be joined by a couple of Lincoln City staff members as well to be alongside me for that one, and then the final Saturday pre-season game, which is a home game against Championship side Rotherham United as well. We'll have coverage of that game here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. And the Hope and Glory podcast for Lincoln City continuing throughout the summer period. If you've missed it over the last couple of weeks, we've had interviews with the likes of Lucas Jensen and Tyler Walker have been joining us, and people behind the scenes as well, the likes of Adam Thurston, who's the man who helps all the players settle in. Interview with him, the groundsman as well, Brad Jeffries. Lots of people behind the scenes who you don't usually hear from on a regular basis at Lincoln City. We've been speaking to on the Hope and Glory podcast, and you can catch that now over on BBC Sounds, as Boston United do have themselves a free kick, and well, Martin Woods lets it hit the roof of the net, and that's another waste really from Boston United. Craig Singleton's been back from his half-time break. What
Have I missed anything?
No, you've not missed anything. What can you tell us?
Is Boston going to score here?
We'll wait and see. No, they're not. The ball deflected into the area. Has to be headed away by Sean Rowan. Boston certainly starting the second half stronger, but yeah, what can you tell us? Anything? Or nothing?
The attendance?
Yeah, we'll have that.
1,514 with 593 visitors.
Must be pleased with that.
Very much so, yeah. It's an excellent attendance. Lincoln fans turned out in force. Didn't get the opportunity in 2 years ago, right at the tail end of the COVID restrictions. I think we could only give them 200 tickets, just over. So great that more Imps have had the chance to sample our new home today.
Yep, which is good. Always good to support the Lincolnshire clubs in pre-season as the ball is out of play. Yeah, fantastic attendance, 1,514. So good to see so many people here. And hopefully drying off in this second half, because the sunshine has come out. It did make me laugh. The sprinklers came out at half time, which just sums up the afternoon, doesn't it, in a moment.
That's it. It drains so well. So it's a bit rare. You can have a wet afternoon, but then an hour later the sprinklers come back on.
Yes, it's a strange afternoon, I think it's fair to say. Boston making a couple of changes. One we knew would happen. Ethan Sefton, who picked up that knock right at the end of the first half, he's gone off. Keziah Martin on, also Michael Giassi coming off as well. Is that just
I think he's
lack of fitness?
I think he's a little bit behind. Obviously he's not done the first week, 10 days of pre-season, so I think they've just been a little bit careful with him. 30 minutes on Tuesday, 45 today. Guess he'll step up again over the next week.
And that's the difficulty, isn't it, with players? If they've not had a pre-season at any club, they are quite a way behind, like we're seeing with Tyler Walker with Lincoln. It's a lot to catch up on, isn't it? It's not just that you've not been playing first team football and you come out on loan to get first team football. You need to get a bit fitter that way. It's a lot to go from a standing start, as Lincoln look to come forward here with Lasse Sorensen into the penalty area. Sorensen lays it back for Mandroyu. Wonderful finish. Calm and collected. Lovely stroke of the right foot, and he puts it into the right hand corner of the net. Nothing Cameron Gregory could do. Great football from Lincoln City, 4-0.
Yeah, good burst from Sorensen down this City right. Ball laid back to Mandroyu, who killed a lovely effort into the top corner. Gregory watched it really, didn't he? Couldn't get there. And if the Imps weren't on top first half, they certainly are now with that fourth goal.
Yeah, it was one of those where as soon as it fell to his right foot, you just fancied it to hit the back of the net, didn't you? Just the way it was laid off to him. It was one of those that was crying out to find the back of the net. So Mandroiu with his second of the game, having scored a penalty earlier on, and now Lincoln coming forward once again as Ben House gets caught by Michael Boswick. House is down at the moment, just getting himself back to his feet. First chance for Keziah Martin to try and wriggle free of Sean Rowan. Referee does allow the advantage, but only 5 minutes into this second half. Lincoln with that fourth goal, first of the second period though, and I think this will be a half where we're going to see a lot of disruption when it comes to substitutions.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, wouldn't you? Boston have only made 2 so far. I don't think they're going to make a whole host today. I think a lot of players will get to 90.
Oh, lovely turn from Rico Hackett, gets past Brad Nicholson, and Hackett's running. He's got House to his left hand side, plays it into Ben House and puts it into the back of the net, and that's 5 for Lincoln City now. Superb turn from Rico Hackett on the halfway line. House running it in goal and puts it into the bottom right hand corner, and Ben House finds the back of the net first time in pre-season. 2 goals in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a lovely piece of play, wasn't it? From Rico Hackett, running from the halfway line and just timing his pass perfectly to Ben House. And Ben House never looked like to miss, did he? It's complete role reversal from 2 years ago. United were 5-0 winners in that game. Lincoln have 5 today, and we've still got over half an hour to play.
Yeah, and well, as I say, you probably, if you're in Culverhouse, the likelihood of you going and winning a game like this is always going to be, a struggle. But you'd expect to be more evenly matched, wouldn't you, than they've been so far?
Yeah, I think he'll reflect on those at least 2 of those 3 first half goals that really gave Lincoln a leg up, didn't they, with some of that defending.
The thing you have to say with Lincoln as well is they've been very clinical.
Yeah,
I can't really think of a chance that they've missed,
5,
is there?
5 chances, 5 goals,
yeah,
really.
Ben House had the one early on, didn't he, which was a comfortable save, but as Keziah Martin's gone down under a challenge from Pordy O'Connor. Play continues. Mandroiu then gets brought down. And we've got 2 players down, but yeah, it's Lincoln have not peppered the goal of Cameron Gregory, have they? It sounds strange because they've scored 5, but yeah, it's been really clinical from Lincoln. 5 real good chances, 5 goals.
Yeah, some good finishes amongst them, really. Mandroiu's second of the game, City's 4th, the pick for me, but some decent finishes. House was a good finish just then, so useful exercise for Lincoln in that respect. They're getting some good football going at times and some good finishing when the chances arrive.
So we should see this game finish by about 5:05. Which is a little different to what we're used to.
Another yellow card coming here, Brad Nicholson.
Yeah, the foul on Mandroiu. So Lincoln 5-0 up, 3-0 up at the break, and then 2 goals in quick succession. Danny Mandroiu and Ben House in this second half, with Keziah Martin's back to his feet and just hobbling off the pitch. Danny Mandroiu didn't need any treatment, but he's also back on his feet, having scored twice in this game. Certainly in Culverhouse, hands in pockets on the touchline. No, he's got work to do, and it's the ease of, isn't it, of Lincoln's goals. That's been another thing. It's balls played to Jaden Brown, edge of the penalty area. He nearly found his way in, but I think that's been the major disappointment. They've not been worked by what you would call outstanding play, have they?
No, I wouldn't say so. It's pre-season, isn't it? It's difficult to analyse. If you win, everyone thinks you're going to win the league. If you lose, everyone thinks you're going to get relegated. The truth's probably somewhere in the middle, and I think you just have to add a little bit of perspective. But Lincoln certainly lively this afternoon.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's getting a little heated every now and again. Just a few challenges started going in. It's worth keeping an eye on that as it develops. That is for sure. Yeah, Lincoln look like they're about to make a change or two in a few minutes. We'll keep you up to date as best we can with the changes as Sorensen races forward for Lincoln here into the penalty area, tries to play it across towards the far post, cleared away by the toe of Michael Boswick. And yeah, that was nearly number 6.
Yeah, you sense there's more there if Lincoln want it. United have been caught a little bit wide open at times, haven't they? And just struggling to deal with players like Sorensen and Brown. Brown was the one early on to do a lot of Lincoln's forward running, but Sorensen, I think, has caught up with him now. Been really influential, especially since half time.
Boston with a number of players potentially coming on in this second half. I suppose one we might see is Sam McClintock getting more minutes, because he's one you'd expect to be regularly involved.
Yeah, McClintock, probably Tom Edge. I think who else is on the bench. You've got the sheet there. Obviously, Jimmy Knowles not involved today.
No, rest of the 23, and whether the trialists get a run out, isn't it? That's the next one. Whether you give them a good go. I never understand managers who give trialists 10 minutes. I don't, unless they're there just to fill the squad. I never really understood that. You're never going to really be able to judge them, are you, in a short space of time like that?
I guess as well, probably can't judge them really against Lincoln City's first choice 11, can you? Or some first choice League One players. I guess those trialist opportunities might come in the games coming up at Colville, Stamford maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, game against Colville on Tuesday night. Former Grantham manager Adam Stevens probably unlucky not to be in the same league as Boston, aren't they? They've been up there last few seasons, Colville.
Well, they lost out on the title on goal difference on the last day, and then they lost out on penalties to Rushall Olympic in the playoffs, so they couldn't have got any closer. And I think they'd been right up there the previous year as well, so you would imagine they will take that step eventually. But I think they're going to have some competition. You'd imagine Telford will come back strongly under Kevin Wilkin. Not sure if Kettering and Leamington will, but yeah, another good division.
It certainly is, yeah. A lot of the league's early stages, isn't it? But very tight, isn't it? Most leagues now, there's not a lot in them, is there? When you look all the way up and down, it's only really the Premier League which is quite predictable. Away from that, there's most teams going to the opening day of the season thinking they've got a realistic chance of doing something special.
Well, I think you'd say that certainly about this league. I was looking at the Northern Premier League the other day with Macclesfield and Worksop, teams that have come up into the league. They'll be amongst the favourites. Radcliffe and Isley and Bradford Park Avenue. It's really competitive at every level, and some really good divisions. And that Southern League, as we were saying, with Stamford and where they're now playing, that's another one to add to the list.
It certainly is. Lincoln just stroking the ball around at the moment, about to make a couple of changes. Looks like Jay Ben is going to come on now. Usually he's a right back, right wing back, but came on at left wing back at half time on Tuesday. Jovan McCarman, the striker, as well. Looks like he's coming on in a moment or two, probably around that hour mark. We're at 59, aren't we? Yeah, so we're going to start seeing, I think, a few more changes as we enter that final half an hour. So we edge ever closer to the start of the season on the 5th of August now, the big kick-off. Always feels with pre-season, it's nice to have the football back, but I always think after a couple of pre-season games, and the players are the same. I was speaking to Ethan Arahan on Tuesday at Kings Lynn, that they're ready for the season, aren't they? They might not be fitness-wise ready for the season, but mentally they're in a place where they just want to get it underway.
Yeah, I think so. There's only so much training and friendlies that you can play. I can't imagine Mandroya's goals are going to mean that much to him today, but give him a goal at Bolton on the first day and that's what he's going to remember, isn't it? So yes, these games are useful, but you've just got to have that perspective, and all about getting ready for the 5th of August.
As Ben House comes forward, plays it behind Danny Mandroy. Jaden Brown just gone down again at the moment. And well, Lincoln City are making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if the goalkeeper's going to change, that's the full 11. Well, I imagine Lucas Jensen will play the 90 here. So we're going to see 10 outfield changes for Lincoln City here. Just going to be a wholesale change, and here we go. And that was 24 seconds over the hour, so yeah, as perfect as you can get. And here they come then. Jaden Brown is just needing some treatment. And we're going to see a couple of changes for Boston United as well. So on will come Oliver Wilson. Tom Edge, another of those coming on. Looks like about another 6, is it on for Boston? 7 on for Boston, I think.
I'm wondering if they're all coming on, to be honest, in the end.
So the Lincoln players who are coming on, the players that did the first hour are all off. So on will come Alicia Ahui, Hayden Can, Adam Jackson, Jovan McCarmer, Teddy Bishop, Oshin Gallagher, Morgan Worsfold Gregg, Dylan Duffy, Jay Ben and Charlie Kendall all coming on. So just Lucas Jensen remaining out. And for Boston United we are going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 changes, Craig, for Boston, which I think is the full bench.
The full lot, yeah.
So coming off, Craig, here we go.
So Brad Nicholson, Kelsey Mooney, Keaton Ward, Martin Woods, Michael Bostwick, Jordan Richards, Tom Leake, Cameron Gregory and Zach Mills, although one of those that I've just reeled off is probably staying on. Oh no, Keziah Martin. Keziah Martin, Ryan Hand and there's be another one that stayed on, is there?
Unless there was 9 changes.
Yeah, there must have been.
Yeah, there must have been.
You must have missed
Yeah,
one.
there was 9 coming on. So there we go. Well, that's our work done in the sense of the subs, because that's everybody's made their subs apart from Lincoln with the goalkeeper. So we've had those 9 changes. This is where the reason not doing the full commentary today, Craig, comes into fruition, because we've got 3 Boston players that are trialists with no numbers on. So trying to commentate on them would have been extremely difficult.
Yeah,
Knowing which one was A, which one's B, and which one's C.
Nothing worse, is there?
So yeah, much changed side then. Just to run through in terms of Lincoln City, we've got Jay Ben playing at right wing back, Hayden Can, Adam Jackson at centre half, along with Oshin Gallagher playing at centre half. He did this second half against Kings Lynn as well for about 15 minutes. Oshin Gallagher playing right side of centre half. Alicia Huey's playing left wing back today. You then got Ted Bishop, first minutes of pre-season for him in the centre of midfield with Morgan Worsfold Gregg. Jovan McCarmer playing wide left. Wide right is Dylan Duffy, and then central Charlie Kendall. So that's how Lincoln City are going to line up, as the long ball is played forward towards Charlie Kendall, who is offside and then goes to chip the goalkeeper, and instead only finds the weeds and the stones and everything behind the goal to our right.
Thank you all for your support this afternoon. Today's attendance including 593 visitors.
Attendance.
1,514. 1514.
Very great attendance here at the JCS. So everybody just trying to settle with the change of teams, and this could take a while before we really see any action again, Craig, couldn't it, with the changes?
This is a really inexperienced United 11 now.
Yeah, Lincoln with a mix of first team, what you would call first team regulars, and then those first year pros and squad players as well, so be interesting to see how this turns out in this final 25 minutes or so. Post-match reaction to come after 5 here on Hope and Glory from both managers and players as well. So Lincoln come forward down the left-hand side with Jovan McCarmer, just holds on to it for a time being, goes back to Alicia Ahui, just returned from his loan spell at Drogheda, a very successful loan spell for him. Getting plenty of football. His fellow loanee was Freddie Draper, who played for Walsall today in their pre-season friendly. They were taking on Aston Villa. Finished 1-1 in that game. Aston Villa side that had a lot. We're talking about players not having, or teams not having first team regulars, but Aston Villa are quite a few of theirs playing today, which is good for Walsall, helping out one of their local teams. 9,328 at Walsall today with 3,975 visitors.
Yeah, I think Villa play a lot of ladies' games there and under 23 games, so it's a good relationship to have just up the M6 from each other.
Yeah, it certainly is. One of the grounds I've not done, Walsall.
I was there a fortnight ago. We often have a league meeting there. I've only ever watched the one game there when Boston were in League 2 in 2007, but it's a regular place for league meetings.
As Lincoln looking to break down the right with Dylan Duffy, plays it through for Charlie Kendall, just looking up, looking for an option. Kendall holds on to it. Goes back to Wolf's Greg, back out to the left-hand side to Ahui now. It's beautiful sunshine once again peering throughout the clouds. Ahui goes in looking for Nakama, but well cleared by one of the trialists. Playing at centre half, and it will be a throw for the Imps. As a reminder, we are doing coverage of the next two Lake City Saturday pre-season friendlies as well. We're at Crewe and at home against Rotherham before the game against Bolton, beaten playoff side last year in the semi-finals. This is another of the trialists has now gone down thanks to a high boot. And you don't get ref subs, do you? I think that's what we need to introduce in pre-season. They do 45 minutes and someone do an hour. We could have full change of refs. I know you've got what could be we're seeing regularly in the future in the Premier League coming up on against in your final pre-season game against Grimsby, haven't you? As the ref, Josh Scott.
Josh Smith.
Smith, sorry.
Yeah, he's. I think he's on the verge of the Premier League, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's Bourne-based, so he's probably our most local official, really. But we're always told if you play a football league team, you really need a football league referee. So go and get one.
Lucas Jensen just taken out late there by another of the trialists. He's back to his feet though. I think the referee's just going to go and have a quick word with the trialist here while player's been stopped. The score 5-0 to Lincoln. Goals. Brace for Danny Mandrew, one for Ben House, one for Jaden Brown, and one for Rico Hackett. That's the 5 goals for Lincoln City. Play about to get back underway. About 20 or so minutes remaining in this game, and Tom Edge, the man now with the captain's armband, Craig.
Yeah, he's the most senior player out there, isn't he? Him, McClintock and Martin, really the three that you would class as senior players. The rest are under 23s and trialists.
Intriguing one to see, won't it be, Tom Edge this year?
Yeah, the one player who hasn't played at this level, because Martin's just dashed up the tunnel, so United temporarily down to 10. Yeah, Tom Edge, the one player that's not played at this level, but had a good season for Alvechurch. They got to the second round of the FA Cup, him and Sefton, part of that team.
As Lincoln come forward with Duffy into the edge of the penalty area. Kendall with his back to goal tries to get the shot in. But yeah, it's always intriguing when you see a player make that step up. We see some successfully make that step up and some find it a real challenge, don't they? And I think with Tom Edge it'll be another intriguing couple of months for Boston fans to see what he will offer.
Yeah,
how he does.
It'll be interesting to see, like you say. He's obviously got to adapt, but he's among quite a few players that he knows well, so that should help him.
Keziah Martin returns.
Quick toilet stop, do you think?
That was very quick, wasn't it? I don't know. You say you spotted it. He went sprinting down the tunnel.
Can't see what else he would have been gone for.
No, unless he's
lost a
shin pad or something like that, or boot change. Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. if Lincoln get themselves a free kick. Yeah, Tomo is certainly one of those that be intriguing to watch as Lincoln try and play the early free kick through. And as we talked about in our first half, those under-23s, the likes of Sam Essian, who's playing in central midfield, that their development I think will be really interesting, and whether they can breach the gap between the youth stage and playing men's football.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge for them, because obviously they've got to try and bridge that gap, and it's not easy.
As Bishop goes for the shot, falls for Kendall, back out to Bishop, lovely turn from him, gets the shot away, it's deflected behind for a corner. But yeah, it will show the worthwhileness of the team, won't it, of the 23s, if you do see the likes of Sam Essian play a part in Boston's season and play a productive part in the season.
Yeah, I guess if you just get one of those players through that makes 20 appearances, maybe it's job done, isn't it? It's not about them all getting through and playing and becoming regulars. It's finding one or two gems, and there's the opportunity there with a small squad and lots of games for players to do that.
Some balls played in from the corner, and that's where I suppose the benefit of having the hybrid setup is you can attract players like that who don't want to necessarily drop out of playing full-time football straight into part-time.
No, that's
they
right.
Get that mix, don't they?
Yeah, they've got that nice little balance, really, and the best of both worlds as such.
Ball is with Jake Lovelace, who made his debut on the last day of last season. Was impressive, wasn't he?
He's finally got a kit that fits him, so he's happy with that.
I was going to say, yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, it was a little bit too big for him, wasn't it? The shirt that he had on that day.
It was. Bit of an unexpected call up on the day, and then probably even more of an unexpected appearance as well.
Yeah, but always a memorable moment when a player gets that first appearance. Good to see him play a part and getting regular football now in pre-season as well. And, wow, great attendance. We talk about great attendances. Just seen Gainsborough Trinity's attendance come through. They're playing at Manchester United 11 today, Craig, and I can't remember the last time I've seen an attendance this big at the Northern. 2,510 there today.
All to say, in 10 years' time, I was there the day X, Y and Z played for Man United, and
well, yeah, I mean, you look through the team, it was mainly an under-23s team, but
I think I don't know why I know it, but when they played there years ago, I think Wes Brown played, and he was obviously however old at the time, and so it does happen. I think Man United's visit to York Street in 2001, there weren't that many. I think Ben Muirhead went on to have a Football League career. Alan Tate, who's now one of the assistants at Forest, and probably Daniel Nardiello, but apart from that, not too many.
no. Yeah, cracking attendance at Gainsborough Trinity today, which is good to see. As we talked about a little earlier on, Craig, just having that funds through the doors for clubs like Gainsborough and Boston and Stamford have had good, decent attendance today as well. It really does help heading into the new season, as Boston in possession with Martin looking to get forward down the left-hand side now, with Oliver Wilson working the 1-2. Wilson into the edge of the penalty area. His shot is blocked though by Lincoln. And McCarver sorts things out, and Jensen can then clear along. There's a late challenge there from Alicia Hui. Free kick. It's fair to say that there's been quite some decent challenges going in, hasn't there, today? So there's not been any letting off of the shackles, in the sense of put the shackles on and not put the tackles in.
No, that's right. Neither side have really held back. One booking apiece. From talking to the referee at half time, he wasn't impressed with Alistair Smith's challenge at all. I think in a proper game as such, it would have been bordering on a red. Obviously, Ethan Sefton came off worse. Tom Leake obviously been booked since as well. So referees aren't afraid to show the cards if they need to in pre-season. Remember a couple of years ago when Lincoln came down here and had the young lad Wheatley sent off by Kevin Friend for a pretty horrific challenge on Luke Shields. So it's rare, but it can happen in pre-season.
Yes, There was one the other night, I think. I can't remember what game it was. It was a red card. Always when you see it flash up on the screen, you think, really? It's pre-season, but I suppose you've got to play. I suppose it was, we were in discussion about Cameron Gregory, of course, in the first half, whether...
Well, I think that would have been I don't know if it would have been a booking, because I think if you make a genuine attempt to play the ball, you're all right, and I guess there was enough doubt there for him to say that he did.
Lincoln played the ball across the area. Jay Ben played it across, now picked up by Alicia Huey, the left wing back today for the Imps. Ball played back into the box, and it's an easy catch for Lovelace in the Boston United goal. I see a few Lincoln fans, either that or there's a few people just going on a afternoon stroll because they're walking around the back of the ground.
The bus is on the move as well.
Yeah.
We got about 15 minutes to go.
Yep. Ready on the move. Ready to go.
Should already be finished, shouldn't we? Without the rain delay.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we should be about final whistle, shouldn't we? Because of that rain delay in the first half, or the storm delay in the first half. That's what's allowed this game, or has led to this game, be a little delayed. In about 7 or 8 minutes, didn't we, where it was stopped. It was Lincoln looking to get in behind the Boston United defence with Alicia Ahui here. He's got into the penalty area, plays it across, and it's poked home by Charlie Kendall. Ahui into the area, and Kendall with a nice little tap in, makes it 6.
77.
So the goal for Lincoln there, Craig.
Yeah. Charles didn't cover himself in a great deal of glory. Ball across, and Kendall just got there, didn't he, to tow it in at the near post. Nothing Jake Lovelace could do about that.
No, Charlie Kendall. We talk about Tom Edge and making a step up. Charlie Kendall obviously scored plenty of goals at National League South level. Didn't really work out for him last year when he went out on loan. He'll be hoping for a positive season this time around. Former QPR youngster, but he gets himself on the score sheet, and Lincoln leading by 6-0 now. First goal we've had since the changes around the hour mark for both teams. And Lincoln maybe wanting another one here, because Ted Bishop's playing it forward. Bishop into the edge of the penalty area, gets brought down, does he? No, referee says it's a fair challenge. And Lincoln had 3 players, left and right, to go for, and Bishop tried to go for it himself there.
Yeah, just looking for that quick fire goals, weren't they, back to back? Nearly, probably a better pass and it would have been there, but it just about held on. Probably Bishop picked the wrong pass, but I think you can forgive him that. Lincoln are 6-0 up and absolutely cruising.
As well, Boston's probably best chance of scoring in the second half just come from Jake Lovelace's goal kick, where Lucas Jensen for a second just had to backpedal ever so slightly. I think it was not a true concern. We do have a first chant of the afternoon, I think. Fans just warming up, ready for the new season as well. As we get ever closer to the start of the new campaigns. We've had everything set and ready to go. We've got the FA Cup draws done for the non-league teams. We've got the FA Trophy draw done, the FA Vars. It's all ready to go, isn't it, Craig, now? It's just a matter of getting the games underway, the competitive action.
Yeah, not long to go now. 4 games after today, but they'll whiz by. And it's all eyes on 3 weeks today at Buxton. It's seemed a long while since that last game against Telford, but obviously a lot of work's gone on behind the scenes. United have transitioned into their new model, and I'm sure they'll be keen to show that they're better than what they've served up today.
It's always a fascinating thing, I always think, 5 o'clock on the first day of the season, because you either feel like you've got, as you talked about in pre-season, about either feel like you've got a great chance of going up or you feel like you're in trouble. I always think 5 o'clock first day of the season as a supporter is where you start to feel it. You have a feeling, don't you? You just get that start to...
I had the feeling after about half an hour last year, some of that defending.
Yeah, it's one of those where I was thinking it's just that opening day. even though the maximum you are is 3 points behind the league leaders. There's just
Yeah.
a feeling, isn't there? They're just like, oh no, we're not.
Doesn't
If
feel like
you
it,
lose
does it?
opening day, you're not going to get promoted. That's it. Yeah, we're going to struggle this year. It's just a strange feel, isn't it? 3 o'clock on the opening day, you all feel like you've got a chance of promotion, and by 5 o'clock,
It's all over.
no matter what happens, it's a bizarre feeling, that opening day of the season. Lincoln at Bolton, Boston at Buxton, so not exactly easy opening games either for both teams. With 9 minutes left to play in this pre-season friendly, Lincoln 6-0 up, and I'm sure Mark Kennedy will be happy with what he's seen, Craig.
Yeah, I would have thought so, considering he went to a National League North ground on Tuesday night and drew 1-1. You obviously watched it. Don't know if Lincoln have really stepped it up from that, or whether United haven't been brilliant today. I think it's probably a bit of both. The early goals killed it as a spectacle, really, didn't they? Once Lincoln had gone, say, 2-0 up, that was the game done, really, wasn't it? From whether United were going to be able to get a result of any sort today.
Yeah, certainly it's the mistakes, isn't it, from a Boston United perspective. It's really hurt the Pilgrims today, because we've not really seen a lot of goalmouth action for either team, have we? I don't think Lucas Jensen's been forced into a save, has he?
No, and I think every chance Lincoln have had, they've stuck it away, haven't they?
Yeah. It's Kendall's foul on the halfway line. Lincoln keeping hold of the ball, though. It's with Ted Bishop. First minutes of pre-season for Ted Bishop. It was interesting speaking with Mark Kennedy on Tuesday night about Ted Bishop and getting him fit. Mark Kennedy saying he's the biggest fan of Ted Bishop at the football club, but he does need to get fit and play regularly.
It's his birthday, I believe, as well.
Good to see him back out there, but as I say, Mark Kennedy described him as, and it's an interesting, always interesting this. He says, if he hadn't had the injuries, he could have been a Premier League player, and we hear that about quite a few players, don't you, over the years. There's the late challenging on Jay Ben there from Sam Essian, and he's going to get booked. But yeah, there's players just hit by injury, aren't there, that you think are going to go on and have stellar careers, and it just never really happens for them.
No, it's obviously about ability, isn't it, and mentality, but you need a little bit of luck along the way, don't you? You need to be right place, right time, and not to pick up those injuries that can really affect you.
As we edge towards that final whistle, reaction to come here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire from both managers before 6 o'clock. We've got about 7 minutes to go here before we reach the final whistle. So Essian booked. That challenge on Jay Bennu is up and okay. All right to continue. And well, he's going to try and keep this one in play. As the wind is starting to pick up again around the Chapman's Community Stadium here. With friendlies on the way still to come halfway through the home pre-season games, Craig.
Yep. Lincoln and Doncaster just about done. Notts County and Grimsby to come. Notts County will be a good challenge next week, obviously flying high after that promotion. Grimsby, I think, play Lincoln the night before, so from what I've heard, they're looking to sort of play 2-11s, so pretty much. So the ones that don't play against Lincoln on the Tuesday will play here on the Wednesday.
As Hui comes forward again, the knockdown into Kendall, can't slide and get it, and it's going to be cleared away by Boston. Yeah, as you mentioned, Lincoln play Grimsby on the Tuesday before Grimsby are here on the Wednesday night, and Notts County are going to become familiar foes for Lincoln City this season as well. Not in the same league, but Lincoln playing at Meadow Lane in the League Cup, and then also those two sides drawn together as part of the group stage of the EFL Trophy as well. So Lincoln Notts County are going to become a familiar match this season as well. As the Lincoln fans are cheering one of the Boston trialists for some reason, I'm not sure why. I really don't know what's gone on over there, but He seemed quite happy every time he gets hold of the ball.
I'm not sure.
No.
Obviously done something to amuse them.
Yeah. So the ball is with Essien for Boston on the halfway line. 4.5 minutes to go. Martin just caught by a stray boot and then gets up to continue and play the pass across. Yeah, and the Lincoln fans are cheering that trialist every touch, whoever he is. Not sure what's gone on over there, but it's amusing the Lincoln fans anyway as we enter the final few minutes. Bit of entertainment for those supporters. 593 of them making their way back to Lincoln later as Charlie Kendall looks to take on Will Hall. Helps it back to his goalkeeper. Cleared left-footed Lovelace. There's the game edging towards a close, but maybe a chance for Boston here. Edge of the penalty area. Looking for the shot. Shot does come in, and there is the first save really for Lucas Jensen. It was from the strike by Oliver Wilson.
Yeah, an effort on target for United. Not seen too many of those today, 87 minutes in.
Yeah, so Boston with that chance as the Gainsborough game has finished 1-1 between themselves and Manchester United's 11 as they continue their preparations for the new Northern Premier Division season, which gets underway a week later than the two teams who play here today, Lincoln and Boston. Northern Premier Division.
I think Stamford start on the 5th, but
Stamford, yeah,
Gainsborough's on the 12th.
Yeah. The week Boston and Lincoln start. A few of the FA Cup teams involved in that. They play their game the extra preliminary round. That gets underway on the same Saturday on the 5th. First game for some teams, that is, the FA Cup game. That's a welcome to the season, isn't it? Playing for vital cash for your club.
I always think it's a bit harsh when that happens. It's give you much time, does it? No, not much room for error. Just if you lose a league game, you've got 40 odd more attempts to put it right, haven't you?
Charlie Kendall tries to get in front of Lovelace, who does well to get in and clear it away. For Boston United, Kendall was racing in, trying to get his second of the afternoon. So it's coming on the hour mark as the wind starts to pick up once again. Fourth official's got his board ready to practice that ahead of the new season.
I'd suggest he puts one up and we all go home.
Or just put 0 up, just so he's practiced it, and then we're all right. We'll be happy with that. We'll take that.
It's just going dark again, isn't it?
Yeah, so yeah, it looks like it's getting ready for maybe another rainstorm. Well, hopefully everybody's safely back in the cars or on the bus or wherever they need to be. As Jay Ben will take the throw. We've got about a minute or so to go. Mark Kennedy just giving his instructions to Jay Ben while play continues. As we just go over 5 o'clock, reminder the beat with Dean Jackson along from 6 o'clock this evening on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. And now Lincoln looking to get number 7, but Ahui's cross is blocked. Tries to win it back off McClintock, does well. Alicia Ahui gets the cross in. It's cleared at the near post. We will have a corner. Just Lincoln's second of the afternoon. And that will be about that, I would imagine. Once we've had this corner, we've got about 30 seconds to go of the normal 90, and then I wonder if Lincoln are going to go and get that 7th. Or can Boston defend this corner? We are about to see how many minutes of added time there will be as well. As I say, I can't imagine there'd be much more than one, would there?
Referees have been talking about lots of added time this season, so I just hope they're not sort of
practicing that. Jackson flicks it across goal and it's headed away and it will go out for another corner.
We had 5 minutes on each half on Tuesday night. But yeah, if it's being sensible, 6-0 after a rain delay. Everyone just wants to go home, don't they?
Yeah, 2 minutes. So we're just entering those 2 minutes of Added time, Lincoln 6-0 up in this pre-season friendly here on Hope and Glory. Referee's just going to have a quick word with Charlie Kendall, just on the toes of Lovelace, the Boston United goalkeeper. It's going to be a left-footed corner for the Imps with Dylan Duffy. Plays it in towards the near post, flick towards goal. It has gone in.
Number 4.
Hayden Can, I think, has got it. I mean, he didn't celebrate too much, almost as if it was an own goal, didn't he? But Hayden Can with Lincoln's 7th. Can, who had a loan spell last year at Gainsborough Trinity. But yeah, it was a similar routine from the first corner, really, wasn't it? In towards that near post, and Can got his head to it and put it in.
Yeah, I didn't know if there might have been a hint of own goal about it. There wasn't much.
It did feel like that, didn't it? The way it kind of went in.
But he was definitely the player that went in to connect with it, wasn't he? So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Even in pre-season, I'm sure he'll try and claim it, won't he? So 7-0 to Lincoln City. We're into 2 minutes of added time here. Lincoln next in action next weekend at Crewe. Again, we'll have coverage of that game on BBC Radio Lincolnshire in Hope and Glory from 2. We're going to be joined by people from Lincoln City joining me alongside commentary. As next Saturday, Craig, where will you be?
So we're at Colville on Tuesday, and then here next Saturday against Notts County.
Hopefully the weather's a little better.
Yeah, nice settle one this time, hopefully.
Yes, a normal summer's day, not too hot, not too rainy, not too windy. Just a nice settled afternoon. That would be nice. We've played the 2 minutes of added time. We should be edging towards that final whistle, and we do. And there we go. We have a 7-0 victory for Lincoln City in the end. Goals from Danny Mandroya, a brace, Jaden Brown, Rico Hackett, Ben House, Charlie Kendall and Hayden Can giving Lincoln City the victory. And both sides will, I'm sure, have learned a lot from today.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Lincoln, that they can score goals. They've not had probably more than 7 or 8 chances, but they've scored 7 goals. Been very clinical. United not defended particularly well, particularly first half. Let the game get away from them, and it was over as a contest within half an hour. Obviously the rain came, the lightning came, and there was a break, but clinical from Lincoln City. And United move on to Colville on Tuesday night.
I do. I'll join you there on Tuesday. We'll have a nice little trip to Leicestershire for that one. Craig Singleton, Boston United Club Secretary, alongside myself, Rob Makepeace, here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire for commentary, or coverage we should say, of this pre-season friendly between Boston United and Lincoln City. 1,514 the attendance, and the Imps getting the victory as they'll go through their cool down routines, and we'll hear from one of the players and the manager as well before 6 o'clock here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Elsewhere, in terms of the non-league results today, in terms of the friendly, Stamford have beaten League One side Stevenage by 2-1. Gainsborough Trinity drew 1-1 with a Manchester United 11. That's the pre-season action from today. Teams back in action on Tuesday night as the Pilgrims travel to Colville. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire, it is Hope and Glory. I'll head down pitch side shortly to get reaction from both Lincoln City and Boston United to today's game, which has seen Lincoln win by 7-0. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire, Hope and Glory. Lincoln City 7-0 winners today in pre-season at Boston United. Mark Kennedy, the Imps head coach, alongside me pitch side. And first we'll just talk about the weather. I mean, that was a crazy pre-season game in terms of the weather.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly windy, really tough. Credit to both teams. I thought some really good football on show from both teams, and I've never been involved in a game that we've had to walk off through thunder and lightning, but I couldn't get off quick enough. When the official said to me, do you want to play on? I was like, no, I've got 3 kids, I want to go inside. So I thought it was the right decision. I thought the officials were excellent today.
One thing you definitely can say about your side is they were very clinical today.
Yeah, really good. Sometimes it all comes together. It did today. I have to stress it was a great Exercise from a fitness point of view. I thought the scoreline was really unfair to the opposition. Boston, who worked really hard, gave us a really tough run for our money, but they caught us on a very, very good day. Really pleased with some patterns of play that came out, but ultimately, physically, it was a really good test for us.
On the patterns of play, did you see more of what you wanted to see for Lincoln City this season today than you did on Tuesday night?
Yes, and that's not why we won, because in all fairness, in our first 2 games we played completely mixed teams, 2 45 minutes, which doesn't give everybody a chance to get into their flow. I would have been disappointed if I didn't see that today because of how strong we were, but it was really important that when we changed the 10 outfield players on 60 minutes, that the 10 coming on showed us exactly the same things, and actually some of the best patterns come out in the last 30 minutes, so that was really important.
Yeah, it must be nice to be getting through these games and not to be picking up injuries, and to get players through the hour mark quite comfortably today.
Look, that's key at this stage. Ultimately, it's all about fitness, minutes in the legs, and being injury free. Danny made a really good point to me when we had the break after that half an hour at the Thunder and Lightning. We're not daft. We said, look, we really need to be careful that we don't keep battering home the fitness, because we're here to. If we don't win games, we're gonna no one's successful. So it's important to really start turning the screw on that. But I don't feel like I think as pros and elite players, I actually referenced in the last game, you want to win at all costs. But last week at Kings Lynn, I was saying it really is about fitness and stuff like that. So it's just starting to turn now.
And Ted Bishop and Adam Jackson returning from injury and managing to get half hour in as well.
Yeah, I'll answer your question because I don't want to single them out, but they're big players for us. I expect them to play a lot of games for us this year. So it was nice. Teddy's been really unlucky. Adam's had a great pre-season, so really important. Just a little bit frustrating for Teddy because we spoke to the group before they came in and said, listen, I think it was 5-0 at that point. People are going to start losing their head. Just be careful with the tackles. Don't take the you-know-what. And unfortunately, Teddy was on the end of a couple of really robust tackles, but pleasing to see him bounce up and get on with it.
What's this week looking like in terms of training for you guys?
I've lost track. You mean next week?
Yes.
Sorry, you've done me there. We've got an in-house game on Tuesday, so that's important. Now, train as Monday as normal. We won't have a match day -1. We'll train like we would any Monday, so it'll be a big physical day. In-house game on Tuesday, which is important. We'll flip the minutes on that. Train Thursday as normal, Friday as normal, and obviously we've got a game Saturday. But we won't. The week won't change for us. Friday won't be a match day -1 for us next week. It'll be a proper physical hit.
One thing we haven't been able to talk to you about is Tyler Walker signing for the football club. We've seen a lot of him before, and you must be excited to see him in training and work with him.
Yeah, and he'll look. A couple of things on that. Huge thank you to Clive, the board, Jez, the recruitment team. He's an exceptional talent. I know he's a fan's favourite. We've worked really hard to get him. I think we have to give Tyler a huge amount of credit because he had really, really good options. So it says a lot about him that he wants to come back to Lincoln. So we're over the moon, but it's something I have to stress. We have to be really, really patient for him. He's played very little football from January onwards, and he's basically 3 weeks behind everybody else. So we'll have to be very patient, very careful, and we'll have to build up his minutes on the pitch really, really slowly. So it's really important that people understand that and don't expect Ronaldo to walk through the door. Top talent, really excited. Another brilliant addition to the squad.
And with someone like that who, fans will get excited about, you'll be excited about working with it. I guess it's striking that balance, isn't it? Because you don't want to put him in too soon and then lose him for 2-3 months. You want to have him there for the full season.
100%. And I'll openly say it out loud now. He is going to have... It's going to be incremental steps as he goes along. I can tell you now, I know the minutes he's going to play in the next 4 or 5 games. And unfortunately for him and a little bit for us, and a little bit for the fans, there'll be a point at the very early stage of the season where he won't be available for 90 minutes. It's simply 3 weeks behind everybody. So he's going to take a little bit of time. But the idea behind that is that he's available to play 35, 40 games and hopefully get 20 goals as well.
He's a natural striker. We saw him as a lone frontman here at Lincoln. You obviously played with a lone frontman a lot in your time at the football club. How do you see him fitting into the way you play and how you want to play?
Really well.
Not giving any secrets away. As you say, you've got a Crewe next week again, another step up in terms of tests, won't it?
100%. And again, it's the thought process behind pre-season to gradually build up, go up through the steps and the ladder of the opposition as we go along, and then finish with Rotherham. So we're always respectful of every game. I don't want to say today because the scoreline can mask things. We were excellent today, but today was a really tough game for us. I thought Kings Lynn was a really tough game. Stockport was a tough game. And next week will be no different.
And I know the man who probably knows this answer better than you is 10 foot away, so it's probably better to ask him. But in terms of incomings, are you hoping to have another development by next Saturday, or is it trying to just see what you go? And
Just
worth asking him.
you ask the boss.
Mark, thanks for joining us. That's Mark Kennedy here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We'll get Boston United reaction from Ian Culverhouse. We'll have Danny Mandroyo, who's going to join us very shortly. The man who scored 2 goals for Lincoln City. So we'll get Boston United reaction as well before 6 o'clock here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. But Danny Mandroyo has joined us pitch side after the victory for Lincoln City today. A couple of goals for Danny as well. Danny, first off, was there any question of you not taking the penalty even after the miss on Tuesday?
No, what one do you no, never. On the penalty taker, so I'll take the penalties. Well, if I miss a few more, maybe I might be taking off them, but for now I'm on them.
I was going to say that was the real concern, I guess, that when you missed on Tuesday, then if you missed again today, you would have been concerned, I guess, at the start of the season that you might not have been.
Yeah, I reckon I would have been taken off, and so I had to finish that one. Yeah.
Second goal you must have been really happy with, really classy finish, that one.
Yeah, it was a good bit of play. We won the ball back and counter-attacked them. Lass is always on the overlap, so you know you can play him through, and luckily enough he cut it back for me and I just passed it into the goal.
You had a difficult pre-season last season in terms of not being able to get the minutes you would have wanted. How much of a benefit has it been so far that you've been able to be available and get a good 3 weeks training in?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good at the minute. Obviously not fully there yet because we're only 3 weeks in, but it's good to start back with the lads and do what they're doing 7 days a week. So I feel like this season will be a good one, and hopefully when the games start coming we'll be all ready and fit as we can be.
Not a huge turnaround in terms of squad this year. There's a lot of players who've remained here from last season. Has that helped in terms of building the relationships on the pitch, the fact that you've already played with each other for 6 months, 12 months?
Yeah, definitely. We know the system inside out now. We know when to press, we know when to sit in, we know when to counter attack, and with the additions that we've brought in, they're very athletic, so they'll fit right in, and you're seeing today glimpses of what they can do. So yeah, as I said, we know the system inside out, so hopefully we can replicate that now into the season.
A really good competition for places in all positions now.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need a kick up the bum sometimes, you know. So you can keep your spot, so you need to keep performing, and if you're not, you're gonna be on the bench.
Inter squad game on Tuesday between the players, are they always competitive affairs when you come up against your teammates, or do you try and make sure it doesn't get too competitive?
Yeah, the competitive game's a game, but like they're only training games really. The main games are on the Saturday at 3 o'clock, so you're just getting ready for getting the fitness in. All we need now is just fitness, and then we'll be ready for the games come Saturdays.
I asked Ethan on Tuesday whether there's stage as a player you feel like you're ready for the start of the season. I know physically, I know you said you've got work to do. Mentally, do you get to that stage where you're ready for the kick-off and you're ready for that real competitive action?
Yeah, we've had 6 weeks off, 7 weeks off, so we all come back. We've had our break, so it's time to just get going and get focused on the games and see what the season brings.
And Crewe next week as well, again another step up in test, isn't it, for your side?
Yeah, exactly. That'll be a good test of more how we play, like on the ball and stuff. So, and it's all about fitness at the end of the day. But we need to get clicking now on the positions we all play. We need to know where players are, and yeah. So it'll be a good test. So looking forward to it.
On today. That's Danny Mandroyo with us on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Lincoln City victors today in pre-season against Boston United. We'll get Boston United reaction on the way before 6 o'clock. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Kelsey Mooney joining us pitch side. I mean, results don't always matter really in pre-season, do they? It's just about getting those minutes in as best you can.
I agree and disagree a little bit. It's one of them where, don't get me wrong, like you want to get fitness in, you want to try and get your style of play implemented. But then again, that type of result isn't acceptable. Whether it's pre-season, whether it's anything, I think you got to try and build a culture of winners, and accepting a defeat like that isn't right.
It's been an interesting pre-season so far. You come up against 2 Football League sides, 2 to come. It's a real tough test, isn't it, for the players to really put themselves up against these regular first team professional players.
No, I agree. It's one of them where you've kind of got to, if you can figure out how to play against these big teams that have probably been in training for a month now, so we're like slightly behind in fitness, but if you can perform against them, then when it comes to August, you can put performances in against teams in our league.
Yeah, Colville on Tuesday night, probably more of a real test of it in terms of where you are with them being so close to being in your league last year.
No, I agree. Tuesday night is one of them. I know it's only pre-season, but you've still got to think of it. You've got to bounce back from a result like that. And I think all the lads in there are disappointed with today. And just for the fans, it's not acceptable to do that. So bounce back Tuesday's the plan.
How's it been so far with this hybrid training system and Boston as a club moving towards that this season?
I've really enjoyed it. Like the opportunity that arose a while ago, and it was a no-brainer. And just coming in and training every day, with games Tuesdays, we're training every day. It's full-time football. Training, games, recovery. It's been tough, but we're only 3 games in up to now, so a lot of work to do.
And it must be nice as a player to have that balance of not being a part-time footballer, but you're in that kind of hybrid mode of being able to train a little bit more and spend a little more time focusing on football than you would if you were just a part-time player training 2 nights a week.
No, I agree. It's one of them where part-time football you're training. A lot of people work through the day and then train on evenings, whereas now for majority of us it's a full-time job really, with games on a Tuesday. Off on a Wednesday. That's professional football. That's how it is. And a lot of us young hungry lads, that's what we've been trying to get into, and training every day has been a massive help up to now.
And it shows how the standard of the league is improving, that we're seeing more and more teams either go full-time or go into this hybrid model now.
Yeah, I've said it for a while. I think within a few years, I think the whole of the National League North at least will be hybrid, full-time. I think the part-time clubs will be a thing of the past, just because of the standard and obviously the money coming in. The level's just getting higher and higher every year, and obviously with the hybrid we've got to train harder and hopefully be prepared for the season.
Lovely, thanks for joining us here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We'll have more reaction from Boston United here from one of the coaching team before 6 o'clock here on Hope and Glory. And as I say, we'll be keeping up to date with Boston United and Lincoln City throughout pre-season. The latest news on the Imps and the Pilgrims over on our social media pages: Facebook BBC Radio Lincolnshire Sport and Twitter BBC Sport Links. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire Hope and Glory. In Culverhouse, the Boston United manager joined us pitch side. The scoreline wouldn't have been what you wanted, but I guess you knew the pre-season of these EFL games, they're going to be a tough test for your side.
Oh, very much so, but you can't give 3 goals away as we did in the first 20 minutes like we did today. So it's a learning curve. It's all about, we have 7 games this pre-season, 4 here against very, very tough opposition. And it's all about learning. It really is. It's a new group. But the goals we give away first little period, we have to learn very quickly. We can't give them goals away.
And I guess you know that this, even at National League North level, if you make those mistakes, that it's going to get punished.
Oh yeah. I'd rather it happen now. This is our 3rd game, so is it 3rd game? Yeah, is it? Yeah. So it's important that we learn these mistakes and get them out of our system. But we need a reaction now. On Tuesday night, we've got a way to Colville that's around our level really. As long as we learn from it, we'll be all right.
The only thing I want to dwell on really from today is Ethan Sefton's knock in the first half. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's got a whack on the shin, but we don't think it's too much. So hopefully it'll come through. Jimmy Knowles had to miss out today with a tight hamstring, so that's a concern. So we've got to look at protecting him. But I think everyone else is all right.
You did your business quite early doors. You've been able to work with the players now for a number of weeks. How crucial has that been to getting across what you want to do this season in terms of style of play?
Well, it's a process. It really is. But at the moment, we're not playing forward enough. We're taking a little bit of an easy option. So we'll show this back to them, and don't get me wrong, we won't be playing against this quality opposition every week, but it's good for us because it asks a lot of questions of us. These games at home will ask a lot of questions, and we've got to come up with answers. But it's a learning process, so that as long as we learn as we go through, then we should be all right.
It's the early days of the hybrid model, but how useful are you finding it?
Yeah, we're coming in and we're getting good contact time with them. It's a new group, it's a totally new group, so they have to gel very, very quickly and come together. But it's nice having that contact time with them. It gives you a good 2 hours with them 3 days a week now. So where we was with them for an hour and a half, basically, or 2 hours, then all of a sudden we've trebled that time. So it's going to be good. It really is as the season goes on, and the group knit together and come together. And it's all. The thing is it's about combinations and learning each other's games and what you're good at and what you're not good at. So it's going to take a while, like anything, but. We've got to learn very quickly.
The fact that there is so many new players here compared to last season, I guess there has to be a bedding in period. It's not like you've been left with 8 or 9 players and you're just adding 2 or 3 to them.
No, I think we got 4 from the previous group, so it's been a big recruitment, and I think we've recruited well. We like what we've got here. Obviously not today, but it was. We like what we've got. We've got good legs, good mobility. We've got good experience in the right areas, and we're going to need all of that because it's a marathon, this league, and we need to be right at it.
You've got plenty of players already. I know you're working with a smaller squad this year compared to last year. Are you still looking to add, or are you quite happy with what you've got and where you're heading, and you're just going to see it as it progresses through the season?
Well, we've got to keep looking. We're always looking and active on that front. The under-23s are massively involved with us. They train with us every day, and it's a big ask for them. But and they're going to make mistakes. But again, it's about learning for them as well. But the more contact time we have them, and they're around the first team, it better be better for them. But no, so if you look at it, we've probably got around about 22 players in here, which is a great number to have. Is it too early for the 23s to be thrown in the National North? Probably is, but 1 or 2 will definitely come out and be a part of it.
And just finally, touched on Colville on Tuesday night, very close to being in your league last year. Is that the kind of game where you can implement what you want to do this season a bit more than you can against some of the sides from the EFL?
Well, they pressed very aggressive today, and they overloaded. So it's about us recognising what the opposition are doing to us, and now can we play forward a little bit more quicker, so we counteract their press. But again, it's learning. I mean, we have the game videoed, so we can give them some feedback on that, and as long as they know. Now we go into Colville now, like you said, very unlucky not to go up last year, but that's. We're looking for a reaction now. Now, can we stamp our authority being more aggressive in the final third than we were today, and get on the front foot a little bit more, because that's slow steps that get us there.
Lovely. Ian, thanks for joining us. That's Ian Culverhouse, the Boston United manager, with us on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. As I say, we'll continue covering Boston United Link City throughout their pre-season here on Hope and Glory, and we'll monitor what happens with regards to whether that be injuries, whether that be signings. Of course, this stage of the season, it's always a discussion as to who's going to be signed and who's going to be leaving and who's on trial and all those kind of questions, and we'll keep following them here on Hope and Glory over the coming weeks, with the season not too far away now, is it? Just 3 weeks to go until the start of the new season, which is not too far away at all, that is for sure. It's quite scary, really, in fact, how close the season is until we have that big kick-off for Boston United away at Buxton, and for Lincoln City away at Bolton Wanderers. Fantastic attendance here today, and just to say as well, we mentioned it earlier on in the show, but Gainsborough Trinity 2,500 just over there today for their 150th anniversary game against Manchester United. So again, superb from them as well. And we'll wait and see what happens over the coming 7 days here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire with regards to our football teams, to Lincoln City, to Boston United as well. And on the way on BBC Radio Lincolnshire tonight, we've got BBC Music introducing in Lincolnshire with George Smith from 8 o'clock. And then from 6, after the news, it is Dean Jackson with The Beat.